payments for 2 years. How about that deal? Stop paying more than you have to. Schedule an in-home estimate right now by calling 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com.
Why?
Let's go!
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma.
This hour is brought to you by the Harnish Auto family.
Give me a freaking auto!
This is Brock and Salk
Brock Ewert is my hero.
Jay Buhner just punched me in the kidney.
on Seattle Sports.
We're going to excuse you on the interview.
Don't really work that way, Sherm. This is a show that has my name on it.
It kind of does, though.
Brought to you by Simply Seattle.
Now here are your hosts, Brock Ewert and Mike Salk.
All right, hi, good morning, everybody. It is the Brock and Salk Show, Seattle Sports on 710, seattlesports.com, and the Seattle Sports application. That's right, it's a formal Friday here. Not that formal, it's hot out. I mean, how formal can you really be? But it's a formal Friday, and we'll continue to call it as such. It's nice to be with everybody. You can still find us on all those podcast platforms out there as well. Maura ditched us for the day, Justin.
Man,
kind of sad.
It's rough.
She just full on bailed on us. She's
See you
like,
guys.
oh, I got a wedding to go to. Goodbye.
Yep.
So, yeah, Maura's out of here. Frank's in, though. What's up, Frank?
Yellow.
You worked until what time last night?
Like 11 or so.
Okay.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
nice. So you got into bed around 1-ish?
About 12.
Oh, 12.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually
Took
pretty
the parking
good.
Ride is pretty good.
You fell asleep right at 12?
Yeah.
Wow. You're telling me you can get done with work and be asleep an hour later?
Yeah.
You're a machine.
Yeah, I
I was tired. I don't know what to say.
Dude,
I
that
didn't
is
fall asleep until
impressive.
after 12.
Seriously, I fell asleep like 11:30. Oh, I was sitting here feeling all bad for you. Oh, this poor guy probably didn't go to sleep till 1, 2 o'clock.
Well, excuse me.
You just go right to sleep. That's a gift.
It's like you on airplanes.
It's like me on air. Did you get on an airplane? Was that how you did it?
Yeah, I have an airplane just for that.
That sounds perfect. All right. Well, there you go. Frank's in for more today, and Justin and I have a lot to get to on a Friday. Man, we're going to talk to some different people today. My friend Adnan Virk's going to join us at 7:30.
Been a while.
Michael, yeah, it's been quite a while. One of my old favorites. Adnan and I used to host a ton of ESPN radio shows together and never met. We just were thrown together. I was here in Seattle. He was in Bristol. We'd never met in person, but we just kind of clicked instantly, which is really an Adnan thing because everybody clicks with him. He's just incredibly gifted and talented and just a wonderful broadcaster and a great dude. So, yeah, we had an awesome time. And he'll join us, talk a little Toronto, but also just kind of baseball in general at 7:30. Before we get to any of that, and I do want to talk about the Mariners game last night. It was always nice to have an 11-0 win, and I will definitely be talking a little bit about the ESPYs today because I love the ESPYs. I thought they were great again last night. They have their flaws. They're not perfect, and if you want to argue with me, I get it. There's a bunch of things you can point to from the ESPYs that are problematic and not perfect, and I get frustrated with them too. But overall, I enjoy it.
Are you an award show guy?
I like the Oscars.
Yeah.
I'll occasionally watch the Grammys or the
Now
or
I'm
the Emmys
trying
or
to
whatever.
rewind in my head, and I remember you do actually
I'll watch it.
You've been pretty vocal that you like them.
It's the only sporting event, quote unquote, of the year that I can get all three members of my family to watch.
Oh, okay.
Heather, Cecily, Avery, all sitting there watching last night. It's probably the only thing of the year that will make that happen. That and kind of the Super Bowl. So,
Kind of the Super Bowl?
Kind of. I mean, Avery's out. She doesn't care.
Okay.
So, I mean, she cares, I guess, if the Chiefs are in it now, so that maybe there'll be a Taylor Swift.
Got it.
But other than that, yeah, nobody cares. So it's like the one thing I can kind of get everybody on board with watching. Heather sat down and watched for a while last night. So, yeah, I don't know. I enjoy it.
How was Serena as a host?
She was fine. I mean, for being a professional athlete and not an actor she was fine. She's not a comedian, and her jokes kind of indicated that.
You could tell that she didn't write them.
Yeah, and that she didn't deliver them, like a stand-up comedian would. But she was fine.
Good.
Yeah, and I got to go to the ESPYs a few years ago, which was amazing. One of the cool little benefits I've ever had in this job was getting to go to the ESPYs 5-6 years ago. And I loved it. It was so much fun to be there and kind of around the whole thing. And it wasn't like the greatest ESPY year, but it was still cool. And just being there and seeing it. And I don't know. I dug it.
Yeah.
I
You got
dug the whole
pomp
thing.
and circumstance around it and the red carpet and all that.
Well, I think I've told the red carpet
yeah.
story
You went
before.
down a different red carpet.
Yeah. Frank, you get there to the ESPYs and they're like, oh, before you go in, you're going to walk down the red carpet. And you're like, nice. I'm going to get to walk on the red carpet, right? You're expecting like Joan Rivers to interview you or something. So you're walked out and you get over there and they're like, okay, there's 2 red carpets. One for famous people and one for you.
Wow.
And you're like, oh.
Got it.
And for a moment, you're kind of destroyed inside. You're like, oh, this is terrible. I feel kind of embarrassed. I thought I was going to walk down the real red carpet, but instead they have some phony red carpet for losers like me who aren't actually part of the ESPY ceremony. And so then you start walking down and you can see the real red carpet. You're like right behind it. It's not like you're in some other, like you can see all the actual red carpet people. And then you're on this like, lame-o red carpet just set up for Instagram pictures behind you. It's like, oh, here, you can take your selfie with ESPN in the background. Anyway, so you start walking down, and then like a couple minutes into it, you're like, thank God I'm on this red carpet. Because if I were on that red carpet, all these people would be like, who's that?
How are you?
I don't know who
Get
this
out
guy
of
is.
here, dude.
Yeah. So it actually ends up being like a really nice thing, but at the moment you're a little distraught. Anyway, ESPYs are great. I got some sound that I want to play from those. Before that, though, you keep distracting me.
Sorry.
I ask a serious question today.
No more. That's what happens.
Can I ask a serious question
Of course
today
you can.
to start
Always,
the show?
you always can.
It's a pretty serious question. Should the Angels fold? Should they just fold as a franchise? Should they just be done? I said this is a serious question, and it is, but that's an unserious franchise. They can't be serious throwing that product out there. That team's a joke, man. They're a joke from top to bottom, from ownership straight down to the lowest minor leaguer. Everything about the Angels is a complete and total joke. Their stadium is kind of lame. Their uniforms are lame. Their fans are basically non-existent, but the ones that are there are lame. Their roster is lame. They play in a terrible. You know when people get mad at the Mariners? Oh, you guys aren't playing well. I don't like the way you're playing. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes they don't hit, and that's incredibly frustrating. You know what they don't do?
Runners get their leads. Now the stretch in the 0-2 pitch. Swinging a chopper to third. Behind the bag goes Guillorme. He's got it. Steps on third for one. The high throw to first over the head of Shanuel.
High throw to first? If they'd been playing in Tampa, that would have hit one of the catwalks. That's one of the worst professional throws I've ever seen, not made by a pitcher off balance.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good.
It wasn't good. It looked like when they bring somebody who's never played baseball out to throw out the first pitch, and they end up throwing it into the first row.
Did the first baseman even jump for it? It was just like
Jump!
Do the outfield thing where the ball's hit and you just don't even
Victor
turn around.
Wembanyama would have been like, yeah, no chance. Yeah, I'm not getting that. That's 30 feet over my head.
Yeah.
I'm not a giant. What a complete joke.
Runners get their leads. Now the stretch in the 0-2 pitch. Swinging a chopper to third. Behind the bag goes Guillorme. He's got it. Steps on third for one. The high throw to first over the head of Shanuel down the right field line. Raleigh will score. Rodriguez is forced out at third. Around at third goes Luke Raley. Ty France winds up on at second. The ball down the right field line. The throw comes in. They get the out at third on Rodriguez. Luis Guillorme getting to the high chopper behind the bag. Went to third for the out on Julio, but then of course a high throw over the head of first baseman Nolan Shanuel, and another run scores, and the Mariners have a 2-0 lead.
I appreciate Rick there. He really was very kind, and that's fair. I mean,
would have burst out laughing.
I think I might have. I did at home. I watched that, and I'm like, oh my Lord, did he throw that ball up high? Oh my gosh. I mean, I was dying. I was like, this game's over right now. That's not a real baseball team. They're awful.
I know. And rookie pitcher up there.
Oh, my gosh. This poor kid comes in against the worst lineup any of us have ever seen and goes hit by pitch, hit. You're just like, oh, this is awful. He's out after 3. They bring out some other poor sap who's making his season debut. He goes 6 straight balls to stuff. Like, they're terrible. Awful. Awful, awful, awful. Bad organization, bad owner, bad GM, bad manager, bad players. Bad history.
You just feel bad for Mike Trout, right?
Do I have to?
I have to.
He's not even out there.
I know
even
he's not
Trout's
out there.
like, I'm hurt. I can't
Well,
do
Rendon
it.
is back.
I can't possibly play. I'm hurt. I can't go out there with these guys. What do you think Mike Trout's reaction would have been if he'd been in center field and that dude threw the ball closer to him than he did to the first baseman? Trout would have been like, what am I even doing here? I'm the most talented player in the world, maybe one of the 5 most talented to ever play this game. And I got to play with these poor jamokes? These guys are awful. They're terrible. They're atrocious.
What do you like to call it? The Mickey Mouse franchise?
Yeah, they are a Mickey Mouse franchise. That's all right. They take after their neighbors across the street. Mickey Mouse franchise. They are unserious, and that throw was just like the very beginning of what you got to watch for the rest of the day. A Chuck Knobloch job. Exactly. Poor Chuck. At least he was only over at second base. He could do the little sidearm flip. Yeah, him and Steve Sachs had the yips. That wasn't the yips. That's what you get when you get a guy who's not a professional baseball player playing third base for you. My Lord. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back. I have ESPYs. Yeah, I have ESPYs.
Did he get to Cal?
Huh?
Did he?
Oh, we'll get to Cal. Do your home runs count when they come against the Angels? Can we just take back all of the accolades the Mariners got yesterday? Cal with his 2 home runs, again from each side of the plate. Julio with his 3-for-3 performance, 7 hits in the last 3 games. I mean, do we even count those in the record books? Or do we just say, they came against the Angels, let's just move on?
Count it.
We'll come right back. Brock and Salk, Seattle Sports on 710, seattlesports.com.
Seattle Sports, your home for Bump and Stacy.
Joel in Tacoma says, what's more stressful to watch, the Seahawks in the fourth quarter or the Mariners in 7, 8, and 9?
Weekdays 10 to 2.
Mariners all day. Mariners all day. They have shown they're capable of being in any type of game. I think we're slowly starting to figure out that they're capable of throwing hands with the best and keeping them in the game. The next step will be for them just to dominate the weaker teams.
Don't miss an hour of the show. Find the podcast at seattlesports.com.
Summer's here and it's time for you to put yourself in the game. But you don't have to do it alone. Come visit the incredible showroom and the all-star team at Toyota of Kirkland. With a large selection of over 70 brand new Tundras and Tacomas on the lot, you'll be able to test drive one and take it home the same day. And don't forget about that lifetime powertrain warranty. Now that's how you become the MVP. Come in today or visit online at toyotaofkirkland.com. toyotaofkirkland.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Headed outdoors or on the water this weekend? Check in with Joey and Nellie on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on SeattleSports.com.
It's Extreme at Emerald Queen Casino Event Center, Saturday, September 7th. With special guest, Living Color. From burning hard rock to introspective ballads. Don't miss Extreme with special guest Living Color, September 7th at Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. 21 and older, need gambling help, call 800-547-6133 or visit emeraldqueen.com.
Bring your whole crew to the game with the Mariners Suite at T-Mobile Park. Whether you're planning a special birthday party for friends and family or a company outing for up to 400 coworkers, there's no better spot for an unforgettable experience. Enjoy the suite life with premium catering, VIP parking, private Skybridge entry, and more. Plus, season ticket members get 15% off. Reserve your suite today at mariners.com/suites.
And the pitch up the middle, JP! Wow! What a play! Game over!
So I formed Davis Law Group about 30 years ago, and I would get, the same questions from people about what to do in the case of an accident. Do you need a lawyer? To the point where I decided that I would at least write a book which would answer the common questions that I would receive as a lawyer. Once I wrote my first book, it proved to be hugely popular. I decided to write then a series of books in different accident cases so that we could really teach people about their rights, how to protect them, and how to decide on whether they need a lawyer and what lawyer to hire. I've found in my career that having a client that is educated and knowledgeable about their particular type of case really helps the client and also usually ends up making the case or the claim more successful. To get your free copy of any of my Washington accident books, visit WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
This hour is brought to you by the Harnish Auto Family.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
Second time in 3 games, the Mariners got to see a rookie starter who was not really supposed to be in the major leagues. And for the second time, they did exactly what you're supposed to do in those situations. They beat the heck out of him. Jack Kachanowicz lasted just 3 innings, and he was rocked. Just not major league quality at all. The Angels brought in some other random dude. He got destroyed over the course of the next 6 innings. J.P. Crawford took him out of the park. Cal homered twice, once again from both sides of the ballpark, just because.
Here's the pitch to him. Swung on, blasted, left field. Has he done it again? He has! It's gone! Cal Raleigh, both sides of the plate again. The second time this year, the third time in his career. Cal Raleigh, 3-run blast.
Yeah, that pretty much put it out of reach. I mean, honestly, it was out of reach in the first inning, but whatever. We'll give Cal some credit. It's not just that he's done that twice this year. He's done it twice in 3 games. It's insane. He is certainly on a heater right now and obviously feeling good from both sides of the plate. Just an incredible thing to do. Let's see. You want to hear from Cal? He was excited about the home runs, of course.
Yeah, I was trying to hit the fastball the other way and, adjust to the other stuff. So first at bat, he got me on a changeup. Got a little 2-pull happy and, shifted my sides back to right center and good things happen.
Yeah, it's just simple.
Good things happen. 114 miles an hour.
Yeah, you just pay, keep it simple. And good things will
my
happen.
sights and
Yeah, Scott likes him.
I think with Cal, it's just a matter of the timing issues from both sides of the plate. What excites me most is that when he turns around and goes right-handed, it has been just as impactful as it is left-handed. So it really doesn't put the manager doesn't know which way to go with him in there. So again, it's hard to do that from both sides of the plate. We got to keep him rolling.
Switch hitters are certainly valuable, that's for sure. A fun night at the park as they win 11-0. Luis Castillo just kind of stuck it on cruise control. 6 innings, no runs, 6 strikeouts. Got the rest of the night off after throwing only 86 stress-free pitches. So just a perfect way for him to go into the All-Star break, get a little rest, and come back and dominate in the second half. Astros win, so the lead does remain at 2 games. They'll get back to it with the Angels tonight. Brian Wu to make his return against honestly the best player on that team, and he's their one All-Star. Former Mariner Tyler Anderson, he has been very good this year, so see if the Mariners can get their righties in there against the left-hander and see what they can do. Rays and Rangers are off, but rookie All-Star sensation Paul Skeens, 7 shutout innings. He was dominant yesterday, struck out 11, didn't allow a hit, and then removed right around 100 pitches.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
All right, Dan Bilesma's got his work cut out for him as the new head coach of the Kraken, but he joined Bump and Stacy yesterday, offered a pretty positive vision for the future of this franchise.
Last year we dropped off in scoring goals, but we were good defensively, good in the net, good in goaltending, and good defensively, top 10 in the league defensively. But we dropped off in scoring goals last year as compared to 2 years ago. And I think there's some reasons for that, but you can't overlook the fact that they did play good defense. And that's something we're going to focus on continuing going forward. But I think the other mentality is, like, we just want to play. Fast hockey is winning hockey. Fast hockey and North hockey is winning hockey. It allows you to score more goals. It allows you to get to the offensive zone. And that's something where, as going forward, looking to next year, we're going to be much better at.
Well, good. At least you know what? I already know more about what Dan Bilesma wants his identity on the ice to be than I did about Dave. What was his name again?
Haxtell.
In all of those years. Yeah, I know his name, Dave Haxtell.
I've actually legitimately thought you did.
No, I've quote unquote forgotten. Good on him. I loved it. And of course, one of the keys is going to be to get Shane Wright to return to form. If you want to have a fast team that scores goals, the guy you drafted number 4 overall has to start participating in that. And Bilesma coached him over the last couple of years in Coachella.
The good thing the last year, I've just got to see Shane come to work every day and put in the time, put in the effort, and you can just continually see the growth in him as a person and him as a player throughout the last year. And I think you guys got to see a little bit of it when he came up at the end of the year last year in those 6 games and scored some goals. And that was great for him to see the maturation process in his game throughout the whole year and get some results when he came up and played.
Yeah, we are banking a little bit on 6 games at the end of the year and hoping that is truly what the future holds now for Shane Wright. But if it does, that will definitely change the future of this franchise for sure, because he has that kind of talent. If he puts it together, if he matures, if he can be coached up, yeah, that would be an enormous, enormous lift for the Kraken.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
All right, as usual, I love the ESPYs last night. I get a lot of grief for this at times, but I really do enjoy it. It's got its flaws. The awards are kind of dumb, and I don't really care who wins them, and I try not to get too upset. It's not the Oscars. It's not the MVP award. It's just some dumb ESPN. Like, who cares who actually wins the award? But what is generally great are the speeches, and this was no exception. The 2 that stood out for me, oddly, Prince Harry, who I don't think I've ever heard speak before, and then Don Staley, who's always great. But Prince Harry was phenomenal. He won the Tillman Award in honor of Pat Tillman, and I thought it was great. This was for his work with the Invictus Games, which honestly I don't think I had ever truly heard of. If I understand properly, the Invictus Games are for injured veterans to participate in. And I was like getting emotional watching the whole thing of what they do and all of these incredible stories of these people getting their lives back and starting to feel like themselves again. I thought he handled himself incredibly well.
I'd like to begin by expressing my deepest gratitude to everyone at the Pat Tillman Foundation, led by Marie Tillman Shenton, who I'm so honored is here tonight. I'd also like to acknowledge the Tillman family, especially Mrs. Mary Tillman, Pat's mother. Her advocacy for Pat's legacy is deeply personal and one that I respect. The bond between a mother and son is eternal and transcends even the greatest losses.
That was just part of it. Then he got into the whole, what the Invictus Games are all about. There was Latin. It was awesome. Honestly, he was incredibly impressive. Just part of I thought, a good night for the ESPYs in general.
I'm glad I know about the Invictus Games now.
I am too.
I hadn't known about it.
I didn't know anything about it. I thought it was great. Great stuff. All right, there you go. That is everything you need to know. 1/4 every hour here on the Brock and Salk Show. And I'm sure I'm going to get, a string of texts and emails and everything else. People telling me how dumb the ESPYs are and ESPN's woke and this, that, and the other. Look, maybe that's true. I'm not even going to argue with you. There are some issues with the ESPYs. Technically, I don't think it was done all that well. Serena, excuse me. I have Sabrina on my mind, but Serena did a good job for an athlete. She's not an entertainer by nature. She's an athlete. I thought she did a perfectly fine job. Did I agree with everything that was said last night? No. In fact, at 8 o'clock, I'm going to take you through something that she and Venus said that I thought I completely disagree with in every way. But good on them. Like, they're entitled to that opinion and entitled to go out there and make some headlines and have a good time with it all. I thought it was fun. I generally do. And if it introduces me to something like the Invictus Games, if it gives me a different impression of Prince Harry, who I've never thought about for 2 seconds ever, if it gives Don Staley a nice platform to say some really meaningful things. 10 years ago, it was the Stuart Scott speech, which to me is one of the best ever. And it was referenced a couple times last night, including having his 2 daughters come out who were wonderful and poised and incredible. That was great. I love it every year, and I enjoyed it again last night. Okay, that was all good stuff. Unfortunately, what's coming up next is bad stuff. You shouldn't listen to this interview. I was going to tell you ahead, I was bad radio, but you shouldn't listen to the interview. It's only going to make you mad, but also you kind of have to hear it. Stick around. It's next on Brock and Salk.
Get the national perspective on the Mariners.
Swing and a miss and a slider, strike 3.
With Jeff Passan, Tuesday mornings at 8:30.
I don't think that it is unrealistic to believe that they have the talent and the ability to win a championship with this team.
And John Morosi, Thursdays at 5 p.m.
Their DNA remains intact. This is a rotation-dependent team.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
Let's face it, nothing makes you look older than you really are than thinning hair. But what if you could not only increase your hair count, but promote new hair growth without surgery, without drugs with potential side effects, and without a prescription from your doctor? Well, now you can, thanks to a breakthrough new supplement called Hair Grow, provided by New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Europe. Hair Grow is now available in the U.S. Only Hair Grow contains Tocogaya, a powerful antioxidant that has received a U.S. patent. Multiple clinical studies show Hair Grow is safe and effective in promoting new hair growth. In one study, 95% of the patients using Hair Grow saw increased hair count. Don't lose more time and more hair. Try Hair Grow today to feel and look your best. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS. Look younger and feel more confident with Hair Grow by New Nordic at NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit ConsumerCellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by July 31st, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car really needs a wash.
The $20 McGuire's bundle includes Gold Class Car Wash for a showroom shine.
Get in zone.
And what about my tires?
Just spray the included Hot Shine tire coating and you're all set.
Get in zone.
The inside is not great.
No problem. The quick interior detailer in the bundle can help with that too.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free. With zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
Roof now, pay later. Hi, I'm Sam Thomason, owner of State Roofing. Take advantage of our 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to a year. We've partnered with leading lenders to make the replacement or repair of your roof affordable. Flexible financing options are available to take the worry out of an unexpected expense. Call us today at 866-ROOF-ROOF to schedule a free no-obligation estimate or visit us at stateroofing.com. That's stateroofing.com.
State Roofing, the last roof you'll ever need.
Looking for the best synthetic turf in the Northwest? At Synthetic Turf Northwest, we resell our premium line of Northwest Pro natural products to both businesses and consumers. From industry-leading supplies to expert advice, we have everything you need to complete your installation, whether it's for your customers or your own DIY project. Call us today and discover why we're the Northwest's trusted source for quality synthetic turf. Get started with Synthetic Turf Northwest and elevate your outdoor space. SyntheticTurfNorthwest.com, 425-788-0718.
Trucks, pickups, and more SUVs. You want a better selection of dependable new and pre-owned trucks? Well, you've got it when you visit Chevrolet Buick GMC of Puyallup or Chevrolet of Everett, part of the Harnish Auto family. You simply won't find a better experience when buying your next truck. Plus, enjoy oil changes and powertrain warranty for life on all new vehicles. Taking care of you for over 4 decades. Check out the outstanding selection from the Harnish Auto family, Chevrolet of Everett and Chevrolet Buick GMC of Puyallup. A better experience.
July is Vehicle Theft Prevention Month. The Puget Sound Auto Theft Task Force, in cooperation with the International Auto Theft Investigators Association, asks you to help prevent vehicle theft and stop auto fraud. Lock your doors, use anti-theft devices, and don't leave titles or important documents in your vehicle. Install immobilization devices such as ignition or fuel disablers. Never leave keys or fobs in your vehicle, and never leave your vehicle running unattended. Paid for by the Washington Auto Theft Prevention Authority.
Brock and Salk's Rewind is presented by Toyota of Kirkland.
You're listening to Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Let's see, we've got our number 22 most intriguing Seahawk coming up in 30 minutes, Brock, and it's only one person today. It's a little more traditional than it's been. Before we get there, though, we spent some time yesterday talking to Harold Reynolds, who mentioned that Vlad Guerrero Jr. would be the guy he is most interested in the Mariners acquiring, and we'll see whether or not he's going to be available. To find out more, though, we're going to break a rule, Brock. There are very few people that I've ever said we should never have on the show again. Very few over the years. Couple of guests who were rude.
Scout. Who was that scout? That Nolan
Naraki. Yeah, and he was just ridiculous. So we said, no, we're not going to do that ever again. But I distinctly remember telling our next guest that he was not invited on our show ever again because when he comes on, his voice is like butter. It's embarrassing to everybody else. He makes the rest of us sound ridiculous, like little kids.
Like we're analog.
Like Mickey Mouse. Yeah, right. Like we're an analog and he's digital. Yep. Like he's in high def and we're not. And yet here we are bringing Dan Schulman back after all these years. Hopefully it's not a mistake. Dan,
is that desperation? Is that desperation for our Mariners?
It's a stinky perfume. That's right. Dan, good morning. How are you? Welcome back to the show.
I'm good. Thank you for allowing me back on. I appreciate it.
My God, what are we doing? Listen to this man's voice.
Dan, that was great having you. Have a wonderful rest of the series.
It's nice to know you're having fun in Toronto. We're going to go. Gosh. Hey, how are you? We miss you. We miss hearing you, seriously, on ESPN, Sunday Night Baseball. How has it been going for you? We'll dig into the Blue Jays and Vlad and all the other stuff, but how are you?
I'm great. So it's been a number of years, actually. I left Sunday night after 2017 and just decided I wanted to kind of, rejig my life a little bit. So I'm from Toronto. I started off doing the Blue Jays and just kind of had the urge to get back home. I got remarried. I'm an old man with a young child. I got a little 5-year-old boy, and we knew that was coming. And I just wanted to kind of have a little bit more of my base in Toronto. I still get to, scratch an itch in the winter doing the college basketball that I still do for ESPN, but I'm great. I couldn't be happier. It's like, 2 countries, 2 sports, 2 networks, 2 careers. I'm really happy with the way things are.
What do you think of the Mariners when you were in town last week with those Blue Jays?
Well, the Mariners and Blue Jays always play games just like that. It's like they're the 2 most evenly matched teams in the universe. I mean, every game seems to be 1 run, 1 mistake, 1 big play, 1 little play, or something that just changes it. So, as is always the case, their starting pitching is outstanding. I mean, every single guy they roll out there is really good. And like a lot of teams, and the Blue Jays are one of them, they struggle to hit, and offense is down in baseball overall, as you guys know, but it's very understandable that Seattle is likely to be in the market for a bat or 2, maybe a bullpen arm too, but most likely, most of all for a bat, I would think, going down the stretch. I mean, they're good, and they might be good enough to win the division. The American League West is not a powerhouse division. At some point, Texas may get going, but they're kind of running out of time. Houston's kind of gotten going, but, they've got so many arms on the IL. I don't know what their ceiling is right now. So if I'm a Mariners fan, I'm hoping there's a couple of deals coming pretty soon.
Well, so that's why you're here. Tell us about these Blue Jays and what is going to help them make a decision. Are they in? Are they out? And if they're out, how out could they be?
Right. Good questions. My guess is they're out. If they win today and then go sweep Arizona and come out of the break and sweep Detroit, but they haven't shown the ability to do that. They haven't been a get-on-a-run team all year. They just haven't been very good. They haven't hit very much. Their bullpen has been decimated by either injuries or underperformance. So the rotation is good. The defense is good, but overall, they're just not a great team. I think they're 8 games under 500, if I'm not mistaken, and they're like 8.5, 9, or something like that out of the wild card spot. So my guess is they're out, and they're just waiting until after the draft over the All-Star break, and then they can throw their resources into the trade deadline. My guess is they will trade guys who are on expiring contracts, and we can get into those names in a second, but I heard you mention Vladdy off the top. So Guerrero's got 1 more year on his deal. I don't think they're going to trade Guerrero. Ownership just renovated the entire ballpark over the last 2 years. $400 million. Ticket prices went up. I don't think this is a good time or the right time for them to do a deep rebuild. I think they'll trade away the expiring contract guys and then try to reboot and get after it again next year.
Well, that's not music to anyone's ears out here in Seattle.
Now we actually have to go. I mean, jeez.
Yeah, that's a bummer. But that's
kind of. Well, listen, I could be wrong, but Guerrero. I still think they're going to try to sign him to a long-term deal, and I don't think now is the time. And obviously, he would be a great fit with Seattle and a bunch of other teams. But I think I just don't see it happening. The guys who might be available, who are on the last years of their deal, Yusei Kikuchi, who you guys know well, and is coming off I tell you, he's a different guy. I'm telling you, Brock, he is a different guy than he used to be. Look at his last start. He struck out 13 guys in 7 innings in his last start. He's a much better pitcher now than he was, and it's taken a lot of work to get him there. Danny Jansen, a catcher, a couple of relievers, Yimi Garcia, assuming he comes off the IL, and Trevor Richards, Justin Turner, and Kevin Kiermaier. Those are the 6 guys that I think are going to be dealt. So
Bo Bichette kind of fits in. Dan Schulman, the voice of the Blue Jays, and just the voice of sports. If you want someone to narrate your life, it'd be pretty good. Bo Bichette in that same boat as Vlad, then?
I believe so. Bo's also got 1 more year on his deal, same as Guerrero. So I don't think they're going to trade him. The other issue with Bo, there are 2 issues. One, he is not having a good year. And if you look at his numbers, it's, a 180 from normal Bo Bichette. Normal Bo Bichette hits 300 and leads the league in hits. This year's Bo Bichette is hitting in the 220s, and he's only got 4 homers. And nobody that I know can figure out why. Also, he was on the IL with like a minor calf issue. He came off, I think, just before the Blue Jays got to Seattle last week, and he aggravated it last night. And we don't know how serious yet. He went for an MRI. So, there's a health question too. But again, if they were to trade one of those 2 guys, I think it would be Bichette, but I think it's unlikely that they trade either one.
Is there a working theory? I know you said no one seems to really know, but does anyone have a working theory on what the heck has happened with him this year?
Nobody I know. The hitting coaches are working 24/7 to try to fix it. Like, this is a guy from the second he got to the big leagues as a 21-year-old in 2019, just raked. I mean, just line drives all over the place. Like, not a big guy, 6 foot, 185, 190 maybe, and just raked from day one and never got going this year. Like, it just, I think there was maybe like 1 10-day stretch back a couple of months ago where he kind of looked like himself, but otherwise, no. His defense has been fine. His defense has been the same as it always is, and until the calf thing, which was just a couple of weeks ago, as far as we know, he was healthy. But they've hit him first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Like, they've moved him up and down the lineup. They've tried to put the hot guys up top, then put the veteran guys up top. We'll protect this guy with that guy. We'll protect that guy with this guy, and it's been tough. Guerrero didn't get going early. Guerrero had a bad April. George Springer didn't get going until about 2.5 weeks ago. Like, he was down near the bottom in every category in the major leagues. And now for the past, 16 games, he's literally the hottest hitter in baseball. It's just, baseball is cruel and crazy. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Would George be available? Yeah. Possibly. I mean, he's got 2 more years on his deal, and it's at $24 million a season. So he's in year 4 of a 6-year deal. Yeah, I think I think they'd listen on that, but I would imagine the Blue Jays would have to eat a lot of the money too, and I don't know about their willingness to do that. The other thing is they have to put a team on the field too. So this year and next year, and they've already got 4 or 5 guys from AAA who are up, and more are coming, and there just aren't that. There's only so many bodies in the minors that look like they might be able to do something here, but. I'm just guessing. Springer's name hasn't come up, I think, because of the money left on his deal. And again, until 2.5 weeks ago, he was ice cold. But I think they'd listen, but it falls into the highly unlikely category for me.
Dan Schulman here with us. Help me understand, Salk and I and our audience, the dynamics there in Toronto. You mentioned the $400 million renovation. I have said in my hesitancy of why I can't imagine Vlad being available is because what GM could possibly trade him and what manager on the hot seat would possibly want to see that guy go. Talk to me about the ownership and the front office dynamics if that were to happen. And if that were, I'm guessing would have to start at the very, very top. Can you just kind of walk me through the power there and the structure?
Sure. So the ownership of the team is Rogers Communication, which is a huge national telecommunications company. So it's TV and radio and magazines and internet and Wi-Fi and everything. And they also own the network that I work for, Sportsnet. I don't work for the Blue Jays. I work for Sportsnet, but both Sportsnet and the Blue Jays are owned by Rogers. So we're different branches on the same tree, if you will. But it is a huge, huge, huge corporation. Baseball is just one spoke in the wheel, to be honest with you. They do so much. So the president is Mark Shapiro. The general manager is Ross Atkins. Shapiro, and he brought Atkins with him, came from Cleveland in 2016, and they have been in Toronto ever since. I don't see them tearing it down, again, because of the renovation, and ticket prices have gone up to try to fund the renovation, and they've made the ballpark terrific, as good as you can make, like an older, largely concrete, multi-purpose facility. It's a lot more ballparky now and a lot less football stadium-like. But I don't know if the fans would have it's funny. Some of them are so angry and disappointed that the team's not doing well. They're like, tear it down and start over. And other people might not have the stomach for it because the ticket prices have gone up and you don't want to sit in an empty ballpark. So, you guys know, being in Seattle, how many fans the Blue Jays have from coast to coast. You see it more than anybody else. But it manifests itself more in television sometimes than in attendance. Like, if they're really struggling, they'll draw 20, 25,000 a game. If they're good, they'll get 38, 40 a game. But I think, they're a big market team with which spends a fair bit of money now on payroll. And I think they've got to just try to figure out a way, again, not to do a full rebuild. But it's been a disappointing few years because, this Guerrero-Bichette era, they both came up in 2019. You go back 4 or 5 years, and you guys know this, like, they were the trendy hot pick to win a World Series in the next few years, and they haven't gotten close. They've been to the playoffs 3 times and haven't won a single game in the playoffs, never mind a round. So the fans are grumpy. I'm not going to lie. The fans are very grumpy right now with ownership, with management, maybe not so much with ownership, with the front office. And it's kind of a tricky place. The farm system doesn't look great. They're really not in a great place. They're in the worst spot they've been in my opinion, in about 6-7 years.
All right, so maybe this is just want to rather than actual logic, but if all of those things are true and they really need just more talent, are they ever going to get more for a couple of those big names with multi-years left on their deal than they would right now?
That's a good point, and I agree with you, but I think they're wrestling, and I'm just speculating, right, because I don't know, I think they're wrestling with the can you tear it down because we just renovated and the ticket prices and all that. I also think, I don't think it's really the case with Bichette quite as much, but more with Guerrero. He's had one extraordinary season and then a few, good to really good seasons. But what if it all clicks in another uniform, and do you want to be the guy who traded that guy who turned into a monster? He's only 25. Like, the Blue Jays are calling up rookies who are older than Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who's in his 6th year in the big leagues. It's crazy. Like, we'll look, not so much lately because injuries have brought more guys up, but earlier this season, we could look out on the field. He's the youngest guy on the field, and he's in his 6th season. So you're right. They would probably get more for him now than ever. I think, maybe they revisit in the offseason, but again, my guess is they keep him. They try to sign him, and if they don't, you go into next year, and if you're contending, great, and if you're not, then you trade him at the deadline next year, and you don't get as much. I grant you that, but that feels to me like the path they might take.
Last two quick questions for me, Dan, kind of a fun one, and then just a curiosity one. The fun one, when it comes to T-Mobile Park, and you're down in San Francisco now in another beautiful ballpark, and as you get to travel around the country, where does the trip to T-Mobile rank as far as the stadium environment, the booth, the views, all of it? Where does it rank in Dan Schulman's pecking order?
It's a great question. So, one, there's the added bonus of the Northern Invasion, which I know might be very annoying to Seattle people, but it's fun for Canadians. So I love that, right? I love the vibe. I love all our fans, the team's fans that show up. In terms of ballpark and just the beauty of the ballpark, and I want to put the home fans in there too. Like, I think Mariners fans are great, and I thought the energy from both sides was terrific over the weekend. But my top four, and I say this to everybody, like, I've got Wrigley and Fenway in a separate category, because they're Wrigley and Fenway. But my top four, among others, are San Francisco, San Diego, Seattle, and Pittsburgh. Those are the four ballparks that I walk into them and go, wow, this is really beautiful. So I think it's great. I love the city. I love everything about it. Like, I can kind of pick and choose. I take like 20 games off a year, and I can try and pick and choose which ones I want to take off. I never take off Seattle. I have no interest in not coming to Seattle because I love the whole experience.
It's too bad Baltimore's fallen off that list.
Mm-hmm.
It's still really good. I mean, Baltimore's really good. The funny thing is, like, Colorado's really good. Just the team's not any good, right? Like, if you're just talking about ballpark, like, I was doing games or just starting when Baltimore was built and Cleveland was built and Colorado was built. They're all nice. There are so many nice ballparks. I think Minnesota, I think Target Field in Minneapolis is really, really nice. But that's the four I gave you are kind of my top four. That doesn't mean the others aren't really nice. I just think Seattle's right up there in that group.
And then last thing, just the scuttlebutt. When you're down around the cages and you're meeting and knowing the folks in the other organizations and you're around the Mariners, what was the scuttlebutt you took away over your 3 days up in Seattle with this team? You feel like they're going to be aggressive and make a move to really – when you said, gosh, Blue Jays fans in 19 were thinking about Vlad and Bichette and having these guys. Same thing with our pitching staff, right? You got Logan, you got Kirby, you got Louis. Like, this is the time to, maximize those guys. Did you get a sense that this crew is going to be aggressive?
I don't know that I get a sense one way or another, but I do know the farm system is pretty good, and we do know Jerry DiPoto makes more deals than anybody else in baseball. And, if you're in first place, why not go for it? Like, you look around the American League, Baltimore's very, very good. The Yankees are kind of a mess right now. They're falling off. Cleveland's very good, but they're not invincible. If I'm Seattle, I go for it a little bit. You don't get that many chances. So I think when you're in a good position, you've got to go for it. And if the farm system is as strong as I kind of read and heard, maybe not like top 3, top 5 in baseball, but it sounds like it's pretty good. And don't you guys, it's eight guys in the top 100, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I mean, that's got to be more than anybody else. And it's 7 more than the Blue Jays have, I can tell you that much. So I think it's a go-for-it moment. It has to be a go-for-it moment. Like Baltimore makes the trade for Corbin Burns. and they don't give up any of their top 5 prospects because their system is so deep. If Seattle is in that kind of a situation, I think you got to go for it. You got to take advantage of these opportunities when they come around.
Are the Leafs going to trade Mitch Marner? Can we get Mitch Marner here in Seattle to play for the Kraken? What are the Leafs doing? You follow that at all?
I do follow that, not as closely, but I do follow that. I think it's time to break up that core four. Like,
thank you.
Yes, Dan. Yes.
It's Groundhog Day in Leafland, and it's like, oh, have a great regular season and then break our hearts in the playoffs. Like, I've seen that movie and the sequel, you know, and I don't think you can move Tavares. You know, he's older,
right?
And I don't think you want to move Matthews or Nylander. I think it's Marner by default, and I think they strengthened their blue line, which they had to do, but they've just been one of these teams where they just kind of get in their own way in the playoffs, and the stars sometimes aren't good enough. And I think Marner, unfortunately for him, is number 1 on that list in the playoffs. So I would trade him. I don't know anything about hockey salary caps and you know, the rules and the needs and the difficult. I don't know anything about that stuff, but I expected him to get traded. It sounds like it's much less likely now, but I think it's probably in everybody's best interest if they move him and get some other stuff they need.
Well, this is great. Thank you for returning to the show. It's been way too long, and we got to find other ways to get you on just because I love talking to you and love hearing your voice and really do miss you on Sunday Night Baseball just all over ESPN. I totally understand why you made the decision you made, and kudos to you. But just as a fan perspective, it's a bummer just because we really, really enjoyed listening to you on those broadcasts. So thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Danny.
I appreciate all that, guys. Be well. Talk to you again.
All right, that was Dan Schulman, former voice, of course, of Sunday Night Baseball, and now the voice of the Toronto Blue Jays. And he sticks around ESPN. Every once in a while, you'll see him doing a college basketball game or something like that. But he really does have a tremendous voice, doesn't he? The pipes are insane.
Perfect. Yeah.
Just
if you have a voice
absolutely
that,
insane.
it'd be a shame if you weren't doing something this big.
Just insane. You know, the Blue Jays are in last place. Like, I appreciate this idea that the Blue Jays are going to hang on, and maybe they're 43-50. They're in last place. They're 14 games out of first place in the AL East. I understand that we now have these 3 wild cards, and so, you know, more teams want to be in it and think they're in it. And I guess in theory, at 8.5 games out of a wild card, you could start to make an argument that maybe Toronto's in it. That's after winning 2 out of 3 in San Francisco, including their last 2 straight. They're 8.5 out. Come on. The Rangers, by the way, are 7.5 out, but they're 8.5 out. You know who the next team is after Toronto? The freaking Angels, who are barely even a real franchise. The only teams in the American League worse than the Blue Jays are the Angels, A's, and White Sox. 3 teams that aren't trying to win.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And you're telling me that this is a team that is serious? Come on.
Well, is that what he's saying, or is he saying that this is something they want to hold on to because of the financial decisions?
Well, he's saying that they think that they could be back in it in a year, and I don't know that I see that. I don't know that I see that pathway, especially when they have a mediocre to poor farm system. What are we talking about? You know who else should sell? I was thinking about this a little bit yesterday. I mean, obviously the White Sox and the A's and the Angels, sure. And the Marlins and the Rockies and the Nationals are starting to drift out of it now too. And we're going to have conversations about the Giants and the Cubs, although both of them are only 3 games out of a wild card spot, which is just insane. What a joke the National League is. You know who should sell?
American League team?
Yeah.
Are you going to say the Rangers?
The Yankees.
Oh.
They're terrible. They've lost 17 of their last 26 games now, whatever it is.
Yeah, they lost their lead.
They lost again last night. They're terrible. What is going on with them?
So, yeah, I don't know.
They should sell.
They should sell.
They should sell the team.
Blow it up.
No, I mean they should sell the team and then fold.
Okay, got it.
They should sell the team and then cease to exist.
Got it. That's easy.
Imagine how wonderful the world would be if the Yankees just weren't there anymore.
I can't believe that tightened up all 3 teams: Orioles, Yankees, Red Sox. That was not. What would you say? How many games in the last 20 games they've lost?
I think they've lost 17 of 27.
Okay,
if I have the numbers right, I have to go back and look.
Things have shifted dramatically.
It's very close to that anyway. Terrible.
Yeah, I remember looking up a couple times and seeing the Red Sox being 12, 13 games out.
It's got to be more than that because I said the other day it was 16 of 22. It's got to be 17 of 24. They've lost 17 of 24 games. That means they've gone 7-17 in that stretch.
And Judge has stayed healthy.
Yeah, Judge is healthy. I mean, it's not a health issue. They got Garrett Cole back and got worse, right? I mean, they were cruising right along until he showed up, ruined their team with his good pitching. Yeah, they should just take them out. They should sell. That would be a nice little gift to the rest of the world. All right. As I said, Adnan Virk's going to join us coming up in a little over a half hour at 7:30. We'll chat with him a little bit. Maybe he'll have a different perspective on the Blue Jays and then kind of the trade deadline in general since he's with MLB Network, but from Toronto. So we'll do that with Adnan coming up at 7:30. Coming up next, for all that I made fun of the Angels, for all that an 11-0 win doesn't necessarily tell you much about where your team is at, it sure felt good. And that's next on Brock and Salk.
The Dugout. Go in depth with the Mariners.
Goodbye, baseball.
With voices like Rick Riz, Aaron Goldsmith, and Dave Sims.
This is a club that has the ability to go on another run.
You never know when a team is going to get hot.
This team's window is wide open.
Hear from the players and coaches and go behind the scenes with insider Shannon Dreyer.
We're seeing him comfortable with where he is at the plate. We're seeing a guy that has his timing.
The Dugout. Tuesdays at 1 p.m. on Seattle Sports.
Kick off summer by checking out the incredible showroom at Toyota of Kirkland. With a wide selection of Camrys on the lot, including the brand new 2025 Hybrid Camry, along with the new inventory of Tundras and Tacomas. All with a lifetime powertrain warranty, you're in for a summer to remember. The unbeatable team at Toyota of Kirkland will set up your test drive, and you can take that car home the same day. Get your summer groove on at Toyota of Kirkland or visit online at toyotaofkirkland.com.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Diego.
Hi, Diego. It's Jennifer Coolidge. You know, I just want to say your cashback match makes me feel so special. It really inspired me.
That's great. Doubling the cashback you've earned at the end of your first year is what we do.
Well, I'm doubling everything now. Double dating, double dipping, double feature, double header, double whammy. You know, basically double or nothing.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
At Shane Company, we have endless ways to create personalized jewelry that lets your unique style shine. Come marvel at our rainbow of gemstones and find the one that speaks to you. Customize your ring setting and add a personal touch to it, like an engraving on the band. Stack rings and layer necklaces to create your signature look. At Shane Company, we're dedicated to creating unique jewelry you won't find anywhere else. Let us help you find a piece that feels like it was designed just for you. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Hey, it's me, your liver. You know, the organ that helps you recover every weekend after pizza, donuts, and all those drinks. When you have a headache, you take an aspirin. You have a stomach ache, you pop an antacid. But where's the love for your best buddy, the liver? The least that you could do to help me stay healthy is take Active Liver from New Nordic. Active Liver tablets contain high-quality, all-natural ingredients like milk thistle, globe artichoke, and turmeric extracts, which are proven to keep me healthy and you feeling your best. Active Liver provides an easy daily detox and helps protect me all year long. So let me make you an offer you can't refuse. You take care of me with Active Liver, and I keep taking care of you. Capiche?
See for yourself why Active Liver is Scandinavia's #1 liver health supplement. You can find Active Liver at CVS and online at Amazon, Target.com, or directly from NewNordicUSA.com. Again, find it in stores at CVS or online at Amazon, Target.com, or NewNordicUSA.com.
Now is your time to get into a new D.R. Horton home by taking advantage of their National Red Tag Savings event going on right now through July 21st. Stop by any of their participating communities and find select Red Tag homes at incredible pricing. So whether you're buying your first home or looking for an upgrade, you don't want to miss the Red Tag Savings event going on right now. Discover the D.R. Horton difference at drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder. It's the easy way to donate your car. Donate today and your car can be picked up tomorrow. Call 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS today or donate online at carsforkids.com. Remember, that's cars with a K. carsforkids.com.
Miss anything from the Brock and Salk Show? Remember, you can always catch the show on demand on seattlesports.com, the Seattle Sports app, or wherever you listen to podcasts. This message brought to you by Ascend Hospitality Group, Famous Dave's, Ascend Prime, and Stanford's.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
We expect our information in real time. US Med carries continuous glucose monitors, which provide real-time readings of blood glucose levels. US Med is an approved provider for Medicare and over 500 private insurers. So call 888-665-0696 today for a free insurance and Medicare benefits check as easy as... That's 888-665-0696.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
This hour of the Brock and Salk Show is powered by Star Rentals, preferred supplier to the West's best contractors.
Give me a freaking auto! This is Brock and Salk.
Brock Eward and Marcus. Sorry about just Mike.
On Seattle Sports.
Eward, not exactly Joe Cap there in the pocket.
Presented by Simply Seattle.
Now here are your hosts, Brock Eward and Mike Salk.
All right, rolling along here on a Friday morning with the Brock and Salk Show. Seattle Sports, 710, seattlesports.com. Adnan Virk coming up in 30 minutes. Michael Bumpus will join me this morning. It's kind of a... And you guys, I should always say, you guys are going to be a big part of the show, of course, at 9:30. So we'll take some phones, little open phone lines for a Friday. Feels like it's been a while. I feel like I haven't been in on a Friday for a while. I mean, last week was July 4th and all that. So
has been a while. And Thursdays and Fridays are turning into just a listener day. So we got Here's the Thing.
Right.
Thursday.
That's true. Yeah, like we've done enough work. We did Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Like you guys can do Thursday and Friday.
Your turn. Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't think that's too much to ask. Right? I mean, like, we're putting in all of this effort for the first 3 days. The least that you guys could do was carry the load for the last 2 days. I don't think that's too much to ask. You guys are like the bullpen.
Yes.
We're a modern day starter. We go 5-6 innings. We throw in 100 pitch. We're not going to go through the order a third or fourth time. Are you kidding? You come in. High heat. We need you guys to come in and start throwing gas.
Starters don't go 140 pitches.
No. What world do you think this is? 4 hours a day? No, by Thursday, you guys can take over. I don't need any more. I've had enough. Every Mariner got on base yesterday. That's fun. Every Mariner starter anyway. Victor Robles and Dylan Moore came in late and they didn't get on base. Ryan Bliss as well. But every all 9 guys who started that game all got on base. Cal Raleigh drove in 4. Right? Julio went 3 for 3. Just, one of those days. 3 for 3 with a walk even, I should say. Just one of those days where, the Angels start a guy that is not major league quality. I mean, you could see it right from the start, right? This guy gets called up from Double-A, and a lot of times when players get called up from Double-A, you kind of want to take notice because that's like where you get the Brian Woos and the Bryce Millers, these dudes that get called up, and you're like, oh, all right, like that's a real prospect. The Angels don't have any real prospects. True story. They don't. They have the worst franchise. They have the worst farm system in baseball to go with being one of the worst teams in baseball.
Right, and you look back and think, when was it last year when they were like, "Yeah, we're going for it, not trading Ohtani." Like, could you imagine the haul you could have replaced?
It's just laughable. It is laughable that they thought they were in go for it mode. They have I mean, they're not the worst team in the league by record, but the only teams in the league with worse records are trying to be there. Other than that, they're the worst team in the league, and they have the 30th rated farm system. So when they call up a guy from Double-A, 6'7" monster, by the way, they're not, you don't look at it and go, oh, geez, here we go. Here's some big hotshot prospect. No, it's some dude who gets shelled, who gives up 5 runs in 3 innings on 7 hits to one of the worst hitting teams in baseball, the Mariners. And then they bring in some other guy, this Rosenberg character, who goes the rest of this. Huh?
You just got to wear it.
Yeah, like, hey, have fun out there,
man.
Lefty. Enjoy it.
Hope your family's not here tonight.
Well, and he's probably going to get sent back down today. Right? I don't know if he gets DFA'd or something. I mean, they may send out both of those guys by the time the game starts later today. Neither of those guys are major league quality pitchers. So, anyway, it's a nice win for the Mariners, and I think what's better than sort of getting caught up in the one game, because I don't know how much that game means, is starting to look over the last few, and are there some patterns emerging? The last 3 games since you hit the road, you've won all 3 in different ways, right? You got to 2 starters that had no idea what they were doing, one in San Diego, one in Anaheim. But then you also, got it yourself into a traditional Mariners low-scoring, close game affair. The reality is that over their last 3 games, they've allowed 3 runs. All 3 of those runs came via the home run, and 2 of them came when Logan Gilbert was just trying to throw strikes, up 7 or up 6 in the 8th inning of a game. If they're really in that game, entirely possible that the Mariners have allowed just 1 run in the last 3. That's pretty tremendous. That's why you are who you are, right? I mean, like, I know we talk about the pitching staff a lot. We still don't talk about it enough. Okay, I'm not going to come in here and tell you that the offense is fixed because they've scored, 18, 20 runs in the last 3 games? I'm not going to tell you that. They have, right? They've scored 21 runs in your last 3 games. 8, 2 is 10, and another 11 last night is 21. Mm-hmm. That's radio math, and I just did it on the fly. Even Frank's impressed in the other room. He's like, wow. Look at that addition. 21 games, 21 runs in 3 games. You know how many runs per game that is, Frank?
No, how many?
Frank, come on. You're like an engineer over there. I know you know the answer to this. That's 7 runs a game.
Yeah.
Means nothing. Means nothing. Absolute bupkis. Doesn't mean a thing. Seriously. 2 of the pitchers were not major league quality. They just weren't. Do I think that if you took the Mariners lineup and sent them to AAA, all of them, and allowed them to play in Tacoma, they could score? Yes, I think they'd score a bunch of runs. So I'm not going to sit here and oh my gosh, their offense is back and this, that. No, not yet. It's nice. It's certainly better than the alternative.
Well, now if the alternative would have happened, I think you would have felt a lot worse than you do happy today.
Again, I'm not knocking it, but I'm not crowing about it or anything like that. What I am going to focus on is what their pitching is continuing to do, because it's crazy. Look, the Angels stink. They really do. I mean, it's a bad team, but there are a couple of guys that are hitting this year. Logan O'Hoppe is hitting. He's got an OPS near 800. Same with Kevin Pillar. Taylor Ward's had a decent year. I mean, that's it. The rest of the team stinks. But okay, they got 3 guys on that team that aren't like god-awful. And we know what the Padres are. That's a team that can really hit, doesn't strike out, and should give this Mariner team fits. Instead, you allow 3 runs in your last 3 games, all of which came on home runs. That's pretty good. 2 straight shutouts? Yeah, that's pretty good. There aren't a lot of teams in baseball that can do that regularly. The Phillies are probably one. Maybe the Braves on a good day or good week. Occasionally, like if everything aligns right for some of the other teams, maybe. But, the guys who did it, it's not like it was, ace. Yeah, Logan Gilbert is. Castillo's not had his best year, but he just cruised through that lineup yesterday like it was butter. And in between, you got Bryce Miller going 6. When I say that they have 2 straight shutouts, they have 2 straight shutouts thrown by 7 pitchers, right? 7 guys contribute to that, including Eduardo Bazardo. I mean, it's not just whatever. It's not just the guys at the very top. It's your whole group. It's what Munoz does. It's what Stanek does. It's what Voth does.
Yeah, and Baumann got himself in a little trouble last night. Got out of it.
Got himself back out of it. Bazardo comes in, 2 scoreless innings for the white flag, who instead was the victory cigar yesterday. He's a little bit of both. 1 part white flag, 1 part victory cigar. So
I thought we might see some position player pitching yesterday.
For the Angels?
That's about the 3rd inning. I was like,
it's the same
thing. It's going to happen?
Doesn't really. You can't really tell the difference. Position players, pitchers, it doesn't really matter. They just throw whoever out there. They didn't have a lot of position players left. Most of those guys had to come in because other dudes were getting tossed out of the game. They had to bring in more players.
Yeah.
Again,
that was a pretty funny joke.
Thanks. We do spend time on the Mariners pitching staff, but occasionally I do think it's helpful to just sort of take note of just how good it is. It's really, really good. And you saw it again on display last night. And then you're going to get to see Brian Wu again tonight. And how nice that maybe you can put him into a situation where he doesn't have to try to get deep into the game. He can just be comfortable and confident and throw that fastball and feel good about it. And hopefully they, score some runs again tonight. It'll be a little tougher for him. This is another reason, like, do you throw Brian Wu last night where he can go against the rookie starter? Or do you want Brian Wu where he's going to be in all likelihood in a game against Tyler Anderson, who is by far their best pitcher? Again, I would have gone the other way, but I'm not going to hate on it. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back, give you guys everything you need to know. And then Adnan Virk will join us from MLB Network and from Toronto. Can he just please tell us something different than Dan Schulman did yesterday? I'm going to beg him. I'm not above it. It's coming up on Brock and Salk.
Seattle Sports is your exclusive home for Mariners baseball.
That baby is out of here!
Every strikeout.
Swing and a miss for strike three. Bryce Miller capped his day of 7 scoreless.
Every home run.
Goodbye baseball, he did it! Julio Rodriguez.
Every Mariners win.
And Mitch Haniger, just like the old days. He wins it for the Mariners in the 10th inning.
Stream every game at seattlesports.com or on the Seattle Sports app. We are Seattle Sports.
X marks the spot. Now through September 21st, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for 12 months with a 1-year contract for just $15 a month. You can add the new Stream Saver that includes Peacock, Apple TV Plus, and Netflix. That's Xfinity internet and Stream Saver for just $35 a month. All of your favorites, all in one place, only for my friends at Xfinity. So go ahead and binge some shows, stream some movies, and save some money all at the same time. For more watching and less spending, X marks the spot. Switch to Xfinity, the network made for streaming, and bring on the good stuff. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or go visit a local store today. Restrictions do apply. Internet offer requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Equipment taxes and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Currently $54 a month. Actual speeds vary. Stream Saver requires Xfinity Internet or TV, and price subject to change. So make the call to 1-800-XFINITY.
Did you know there's a revolutionary pediatric cancer treatment called immunotherapy going on at Seattle Children's Hospital? Kids with cancer know that true strength comes from within. And with immunotherapy, they can fight cancer from the inside out with their own superpower, their immune systems. However, pediatric cancer research and trials are severely underfunded. G. Scott here asking you to join the fight for all kidkind. Next time you're at Safeway checkout, please choose to make a donation. Thank you for becoming an immuno hero.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Discover the ultimate diamond buying experience. Unparalleled quality at unbeatable prices.
Hi, I'm Diamond Dave of Cantor Diamond. At our by appointment office, you'll receive truly personalized one-on-one service to your needs.
No high overhead of standalone stores or mall hours to pay for. We're direct diamond importers designing and manufacturing in-house, eliminating all the middlemen.
Stop overpaying at retail and enjoy serious savings on quality diamonds.
From the first consult to the final reveal, we guide you through every step, ensuring you get your dream diamond ring, necklace, or earrings without compromise.
Romantic proposals, anniversary splurges, or just because. Indulge in diamonds for less.
Call today for your private appointment for a dazzling diamond.
Call Diamond Dave at 253-272-7007. That's 253-272-7007. Or follow them on Instagram at Cantor Diamond. That's at KANTOR Diamond.
The noon hour of the Bump and Stacy Show is powered every day by the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Go to pendergastlaw.com.
For over 111 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington. From the Space Needle in Seattle and now all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. With the largest lighting inventory in Washington, Pacific Lamp's knowledgeable and experienced staff can assist you with any lighting issue, as well as help with intricate lighting and control designs. Plus, they work with all utilities in Washington to get you the best available lighting rebates. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting expert since 1912. Visit pacificlamp.com.
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, Accurate Auto Body.
If you've been in an auto accident, you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, Accurate Auto Body.
This is the story of the one. As head of maintenance at a concert hall, he knows the show must always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Grainger's supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support, his venue never misses a beat. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
Up first, the Mariners blew out the Angels yesterday. It was not close. It was not a game. It started early and just kept get going from there. Excuse me. Cal Raleigh, the offensive star, he homered from both sides of the plate again.
The stretch delivers. Swung on, crushed right field down the line, hooking toward the pole. It is gone. Cal Raleigh smashes his 18th home run of the season. A line drive rocket right down the line, and the Mariners continue to pour it on. It is 5-0 M's. A laser by Cal.
Yeah, that came off of Jack Kahanowitz, who I mistakenly referred to as Jack Kachanowitz earlier, and I was corrected. You know what? Cares.
The C is silent.
That guy's going back to the minor leagues tomorrow. It doesn't matter if you get his name right or wrong. You could call him Jackie K if you want. That guy's not going to be here anymore. Not going to work here anymore anyway. The Angels brought in some other random lefty dude. He got destroyed as well. J.P. Crawford took him out of the park. Cal did it again. That's 4 home runs in 3 games for Cal. It's 21 runs in 3 games for the Mariners. But, yeah, just a fun night at the ballpark, and Scott was pretty happy with his catcher.
You can't take it for granted. It is really hard to do that. He's in a good spot right now, and it's fun to watch. Not only that, this guy catches every day. I think we lose sight of what he does on the defensive side and how that can wear your body down. But, again, we've got to keep him in a good spot. He's huge for us, and really looking forward to the rest of the series.
Yeah, he scored twice on his 2 home runs, but none of them were my favorite Cal Raleigh's run of the game. I enjoyed this one just for the entertainment value.
Runners get their leads. Now the stretch in the 0-2 pitch. Swinging a chopper to third. Behind the bag goes Guillorme. He's got it. Steps on third for 1. The high throw to first over the head of Shanuel down the right field line. Raleigh will score.
He sure would. That's what happens when you throw the ball 30, 40 feet over the first baseman's head.
You didn't have to rush it. It's Ty Rance.
That guy threw the ball so high. He looked like when you're playing catch with your kids and you're trying to throw them pop flies. You're like, you lean way back, right? Throw it way up in the air.
Playing some long toss from third base.
Jeez, that was terrible. Astros win. The lead does remain at 2 games. They'll get back to it with the Angels tonight. Brian Wu going to make his return against former Mariner Tyler Anderson, who's actually been really good for Anaheim this year. And, so Blue Jays win, Giants lose. Rays end up beating the Yankees. Arizona wins. Just a solo home run from Eugenio Suarez, so they're kind of remaining in it. And then Paul Skeens, kind of the story in baseball yesterday. 7 shutout innings, struck out 11, didn't allow a hit, but wasn't allowed to finish the game. He was removed around 100 pitches, so doesn't get the no-hitter, but was just once again incredibly dominant. Is he going to start the All-Star game for the National League?
He should.
He probably should. And kind of with that whole, like, Caitlin Clark effect thing, right? Like, dude, he's the most interesting, exciting story in baseball. Get him out there. Why wouldn't you? Let people see him. Let people talk about him. He's the future. That seems like a really good idea, and that's something baseball should do more of.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
I enjoyed Dan Bilesma yesterday on with Bump and Stacy. He's got his work cut out for him. There's no doubt. I still am not convinced that he's got a roster that is ready to compete at the Stanley Cup level, but he's got plans, and in this cut, you will hear more of a description of what it is he wants to do here in Seattle than I heard from the previous coach in 3 years.
Last year, we dropped off in scoring goals, but we were good defensively, good in the net, good in goaltending, and good defensively, top 10 in the league defensively. But we dropped off in scoring goals last year as compared to 2 years ago. And I think there's some reasons for that, but you can't overlook the fact that they did play good defense. And that's something we're going to focus on continuing going forward. But I think the other mentality is, like, we just want to play. Fast hockey is winning hockey. Fast hockey and North hockey is winning hockey. It allows you to score more goals. It allows you to get to the offensive zone. And that's something where, as going forward, looking to next year, we're going to be much better at.
Okay, fast hockey. Done. Now I know. I never knew what Dave Haxtell wanted to do other than try to put me to sleep every time he talked. At least Bilesman's got a plan. He wants to play fast hockey. He wants to go north-south. Okay, got it. And he speaks in an engaging way. 2 for 2. He's already, way up in my book over what we've watched here over the first 3 years of the franchise. By the way, he's been with Shane Wright quite a bit, and that's going to be a big key to them getting done what they're hoping to. He says he's growing up finally.
Just really getting to see him play, getting to go to work every day and trying to become a pro. I think when it gets lost a little bit, we're drafting 18-year-old kids, young men, and there's a lot of development and a lot of process that has to go through for the player to get to be where he's at his best. And I think the first year we saw a lot of signs of that. The expectations of the draft and going forth and then coming to camp, you got to remember he's just an 18-year-old. You got to look back to when you were 18 years old and see where you were at that time, both physically and mentally. And
yeah, I don't think I need to do that.
That's not a fun idea.
Nobody wants to hear about that. But, good stuff from Dan Bilesma. Great interview with those guys yesterday.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
All right, so I watched the ESPYs yesterday. Do you think Russell Wilson, do you think it's hard for him to have his wife, who's a musician, not an athlete, be a relevant part of the ESPYs while he's not?
Oh, no.
You think he loves it?
No, I think he loves it.
I don't know.
Attachment to a spotlight is still a spotlight.
But he wasn't in it at all. Sierra's there. She starts the ESPYs with a big performance, and Russell's on his third team in 4 years.
Yeah, Serena still mentioned him in the opening remark.
Yeah, but only because he's of his wife. Not because of, I
don't think he hates it. I don't think he hates it.
I don't know. I wonder if it's a little harder for him. In any event, I love the ESPYs. The awards are not the best part. They're kind of dumb. But the speeches often are great, and yesterday was no exception. We talked about Prince Harry yesterday and his speeches, which I thought were phenomenal. Dawn Staley as well. She was great in her acceptance speech.
She's one of the 13 pair of eyes that every single little thing I do every day and make sure to comment on. That's my team. If they could stand up and just be recognized. How do I not fight injustice when I ask them to do the things the right way? How do I not fight for fairness when I ask them not to cheat themselves, not to cut corners? How do I not fight for equity when I tell them they can climb as high as they want? How do I not fight pay disparity when I do the same job and get paid less but win more? I can't ask them to stand up for themselves if I'm sitting down.
I think I thought that was the best rationalization for, I don't know if that's the right word, rationale for why it's okay for athletes and coaches, especially coaches, to speak up about issues that are important to them. How can I ask the players on my team to give their best and to do their most when I'm not doing it myself? I thought it was great. I really enjoyed her speech. She is a delight. There was a lot of stuff that I enjoyed last night, but that was probably tops on the list. Okay.
It reminds me of the Baseball Beyond Borders guys, where it's like, if the players leave here and all they are is a better baseball player, I failed.
Pretty good.
That line stood out to me really,
I
really
think
well.
it should. Very, very good stuff. Okay, that's everything you need to know. 1/4 every hour here on the Brock and Salk Show. All right, yesterday we talked to Dan Schulman, voice of the Blue Jays, and he's like, yeah, Vlad's not going anywhere. So that wasn't enough for me. I refused to just go quietly into the night on this whole Blue Jays thing. I'm bringing in another expert. We're going with sort of a pseudo Blue Jay national hybrid. Adnan Virk, who's from Toronto, grew up a Blue Jays fan, but now is at MLB Network after a long time at ESPN, and he is going to join us next. We'll ask him about Vlad and about the deadline in general, because I got a lot of questions, and I know he'll have answers. That's coming up. Brock and Salk, Seattle Sports on 710, seattlesports.com.
Seattle Sports, your home for Bump and Stacy.
Joel in Tacoma says, what's more stressful to watch, the Seahawks in the fourth quarter or the Mariners in 7, 8, and 9?
Weekdays 10 to 2.
Mariners all day. Mariners all day. They have shown they're capable of being in any type of game. I think we're slowly starting to figure out that they're capable of throwing hands with the best and keeping them in the game. The next step will be for them just to dominate the weaker teams.
Don't miss an hour of the show. Find the podcast at seattlesports.com.
Hey, Mike Salk here. It has certainly been nice and toasty in the Northwest, and I'm sure your AC has been running nonstop. Well, especially so if you don't have energy-efficient windows, right? If you got the builder grade or yours are over 8 years old, the seals are likely broken, air is leaking. You're paying the price in those high utility bills, not just now, but all year long. Well, guess what? Window Nation's high-quality windows are built to last a lifetime, and right now, for every 2 windows that you buy, you're going to get 2 more for free. So there's no limit to how much you could save. Plus, you could save even more than that because they're offering 0 down with no interest or payments for 24 months. That's pretty nuts. Window Nation's windows do come with a lifetime warranty. They can be installed in 1 day or less. And the installation, they were ranked highest on Forbes' list of best window installation companies. So you can trust these guys for high-quality, affordable windows. Stop paying more than you have to. Schedule a fast in-home estimate right now at 866-90-NATION or just visit windownation.com.
Can't fix everything for everybody, but you can be there and listen and try to help with what you can. You're there to support them, and that's the best that you can do.
It's this commitment, this philosophy that represents the LJ way.
This is my life. This is my family's life. The people that work here, they're my family. When something's not right with them, it's not right with us. My wife and 3 kids in the house, there's always something wrong with somebody at all times. And if there isn't, then something's wrong. When you have 388 employees, there's never a day that everything is good everywhere. You have to be okay with that. You have to look at that as opportunities to gain a better relationship with people and help them through what they're going through.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
Paid political announcement. A Bob for Bob update on car tabs. Did you know Bob Ferguson sued and overturned the $30 car tab initiative passed by 53% of Washington voters? Beware of Bob not listening to the will of Washington when we disagree. Do you want a governor who sues to stop an initiative passed by more than 50% of the state? Well, then we have the candidate for you. Vote Bob. Well, because Bob Ferguson wants it. Paid for by the Bob for Bob Committee, 1283 Puyallup, Washington, 98371. Top 4 donors, Steve Gordon, Fremont Dock Company, Brian Haywood, and Susie Burke.
Want to listen to Seattle Sports on your smart speaker?
Hey, smart speaker, play Seattle Sports.
This message is powered by the EQC Sportsbook at Emerald Queen Casino. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
At State Roofing, you can trust us to get your project done right because we prioritize quality and excellence in everything we do. Take advantage of 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest today, and don't pay until 2025. Call State Roofing at 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com.
July is Vehicle Theft Prevention Month. The Puget Sound Auto Theft Task Force, in cooperation with the International Auto Theft Investigators Association, asks you to help prevent vehicle theft and stop auto fraud. Lock your doors, use anti-theft devices, and don't leave titles or important documents in your vehicle. Install immobilization devices such as ignition or fuel disablers. Never leave keys or fobs in your vehicle, and never leave your vehicle running unattended. Paid for by the Washington Auto Theft Prevention Authority.
Headed outdoors or on the water this weekend? Check in with Joey and Nelly on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on seattlesports.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Matt Coker here with West Coast Men's Health. In the past 5 years, we've seen thousands of men at our clinics. Most guys tell us the same story, that in their early 50s, it's not that they couldn't function, they just needed help. They started taking Viagra, and it worked great at first. But after a few years, it stopped working. The problem is that their arteries had become more restricted since they started taking it, because Viagra does not unclog arteries. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we use acoustic wave therapy to target the real problem. We break down plaque and clear up the arteries so blood can flow like it did in your 20s. This restores function. And guys, listen to this. You won't have to take a pill anymore. So if this sounds like you, give West Coast Men's Health a call today and see how we can help.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
You're listening to Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Friday morning, it's beautiful, it's summer. Just take your time. There's no reason to rush on anything. No reason to hurry, no sense of urgency. It's a day for sitting around, for resting, for relaxing, for maybe sitting on a porch or a deck or at a pool or wherever you can. Just get a little rest and relaxation today. And then tonight, get back to watching a little baseball from the Big A. The Mickey Mouse franchise, the Anaheim Angels, or whatever they're calling themselves these days. Mariners are down there for the second of 4 games. We are continuing to approach the trade deadline, and it's still amazingly too early for deals to get done. GMs, as we've talked about, have been mostly concerned with the draft, and that will finally get underway Sunday. So after that, once they're done with the draft, we'll start to be able to hopefully see this trade market develop and see who's actually going to be available. But until then, all quiet on the Western Front, as they say. Adnan Virk of MLB Network, formerly of ESPN, and great broadcaster, joining us now. Hi, Adnan. How are you, sir?
Great to reunite, Mike. It's awesome, man. I thank you for all the wonderful memories and the shows we had at ESPN. We had great chemistry and a lot of good laughs, and I'm thrilled you're thriving in Seattle, man. Good to chat again.
You say that we had great chemistry, and I say it too, but then I realize that you have great chemistry with everybody, and I don't. I have great chemistry with like a third of the people I work with. You have great chemistry with everybody. You're like the most easygoing dude in the world.
No, I'm very fortunate in that respect. I appreciate the compliment. But I remember Louise Cornetta, of course, our dear friend at ESPN. She goes, no, I like the combination. She goes, you're always upbeat, and then there's salty sulk. And I said, are you just saying that because of the alliteration, or is it actually accurate? I'm not sure which one it was, but we love you, buddy.
Pretty accurate. I think Louise knows me about as well as anybody, and I wouldn't be in this business if it wasn't for her. So let's talk some baseball, because that's where you're mostly consumed with these days. And I know you're not just a Blue Jays guy, but I got to start with you as a Blue Jays guy, and then we'll go from there.
Sure.
Because we had Schulman on yesterday, which is always a mistake because his voice is just butter and everybody else just kind of feels inferior after talking to Dan Schulman as a broadcaster. But he was right. He was very pessimistic about the idea of the Jays actually trading Vlad and or Bichette. What do you think? Will they trade those guys?
I'm with Dan. And by the way, he's an absolute legend. I'm with the Canadian Hall of Famer. We all look up to Schulman. I can't believe I have to follow Schulman. It's a tough spot to be in. But yes, it ain't going to happen, Mike. Listen, Vlad had that slow start in which a lot of people were frustrated in Toronto, but he's turned it on certainly recently. He was hitting for average, wasn't hitting for power. But now those power numbers are there. When you look up to the end of the year, he should be hitting over 300, 25, 26 home runs, 90 RBI. Like, I know it's not the 30 to 100, the eye-popping numbers that Jays fans were expecting after that breakout 2021, but he's still awfully good, and he's still young. And, like, where are you going to get that kind of production? So I can't see them trading him. I still think in this offseason they'll sit with Vlad's crew. He's got 1 year left till free agency, as you know, and they'll say, listen, can we just get this deal done? Maybe it's similar to a Julio Rodriguez type deal. It's built with lots of different clauses, performance bonuses, et cetera, but it'll be 10 years, 220, 240, something like that. And with regards to Bo, I also don't think he gets traded because of the fact he's had such a drop-off overall. It's crazy, Mike. I looked at the numbers. He has the third highest drop in average from one season to this year. He was hitting 306 last year. He's a perennial hit champion, and now he's hitting in the 220s. So why on earth would the Jays trade him right now? Because they know his value is lower, and you're not going to get an offer that will blow you away. So I did have one cynical Jays fan say to me, it's not the worst thing in the world. I said, why? They said, well, Vlad's doing well. He'll get paid. But then Bo, they'll get maybe a bit of a discount. I said, well, you know the way agents work. They're going to say, this was just an outlier. Bo's still a great player, blah, blah, blah. But maybe Toronto harbors hopes of signing both. It's bad news, though, for you and the Mariners because, as you know, your offense is atrocious. You've got incredible starting pitching. But, God, you need some offense. I looked the other day, man, and as you know, OPS is the favorite stat of most baseball people these days. It's nice and quick, on base for slugging, slam it together. The average rate of the American League, with offense being down across the majors, as you and I both know. But still, the average OPS is 700. And there was 2 of 9 Mariners in the starting lineup with an OPS over 700. I said, this is actually borderline remarkable that they're actually still in first place. Even with Houston getting healthy, with that type of anemic offense is still being first. God, I hope Jerry goes out and gets some bats. I'm sure he's hunting right now, but I unfortunately do not think, buddy, it's going to be Bichette or Vlad.
All right, so if it's not Bichette or Vlad, and Schulman said the same thing yesterday, I'm still not 100% convinced, even though I have a lot of respect for both of you, just because if I'm Toronto, I'm looking at it going, how am I going to improve my team? The farm system is not particularly good, and the guys that are good are a couple of years away. If I want to get good, I'm not going to do it by trading Yimi Garcia. Like, there's only so many, like how are you going to get good? You got to trade good players to get good players.
Excellent Yimi Garcia reference.
Thank
Props to you. That is a true baseball fan. Tornado Yusei Kikuchi, because he has an expending contract as well. So you're right. If the Jays just say we're only going to trade guys who are going to be free agents at the end of the season, you're not getting immeasurably better. But I do think the problem is this. Ross Atkins is currently the general manager, but I don't think he's going to be the GM next season. I don't root for anyone to lose their jobs. I know what it's like. It's an awful position to be in. But since Atkins has taken over, right, in 2019, they were 65-97. Terrible team. First year of Bo and Vlad. And since they've had them together, they have not had any demonstrable success. They have not had any playoff series wins. They haven't shown anything, quite frankly, with that duo. So to your point, you'd say, well, honestly, guys, I know this was supposed to be this great young team and, the baby Blue Jays and Kevin Biggio. Well, guess what? He's in the Dodgers now, and the rest of these guys haven't lived up to expectations. Why would you stick with the same recipe for the next 7 to 8 years when it hasn't worked as of yet? So that's your point. Why not make the move? But the problem is this. I don't think Atkins gets to make that call. Why would you trust a GM to make a franchise-altering trade if you don't believe he'll be the GM in 2025? So that's the other issue. Maybe Bo and Vlad eventually do get dealt, but not right now. I don't think it happens with Ross Atkins in the chair.
Talking to Adnan Virk here on Brock and Salk, Seattle Sports on 710. All right, so if not those guys, who? If you're Jerry Dipoto, and obviously you need probably not just one bat but two, what's the fit? Who would you look to add?
The one I would have been rooting for, if I'm a Mariners fan, like, God, please, God, give us Pete Alonso. Because I know he's only going to hit 230, but my man hits home runs everywhere. I don't think there's a more definitive power threat. Wherever he goes, he will hit 40 home runs, no doubt about it. But the problem is this. Of course, now the Mets, OMG, have been great from June 1st on and now are very much in the wild card race and are right now tied for that wild card spot. So I don't think they trade Alonso. There had been some thought previously, Mike, you could trade him and always re-sign him in the offseason. No one's got more money than Stevie Cohen. If he believes Pete Alonso should be a lifelong Met, we're good to go. But I don't think it's going to happen because right now they want to make the playoffs this year. And, again, it's so watered down, the mediocrity of the National League. That third wildcard spot's basically a 500 team right now. But it is what it is. The Mets aren't going to deal him. So who's the guy that's going to get dealt for sure is Luis Robert. The White Sox are awful, and they all know they have to hit on these. Garrett Crochet is one of the top 10 pitchers right now in baseball, and Robert, when healthy, is a premier slugger. Does he strike out too much? Absolutely. Does he get hurt too much? Yes. Does he hit home runs? Yes. So I think Jerry DiPoto's got to be calling the White Sox and going, okay, I know you're going to trade, so let's get Luis Robert over here. The other guy everyone's talking about, I don't necessarily see the fit, is Jazz Chisholm, only because I'm like, to me, I just look at your team and say, God, you're so power deficient. Just give me home runs. And Jazz is not hitting 30 home runs. But he's a fun, young, dynamic player. He can hit. He's got charisma. And I know he's going to get traded. Like, the one thing is you have to look at which teams are definitely making moves. The Marlins and White Sox absolutely are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with you on those two. And I would say I think similarly. Robert's interesting, but there's a lot more risk. Chisholm, you look at the numbers and they don't seem to quite reflect some of the excitement around him. It's funny looking at numbers this year and you're like, Brent Rooker and Lamont Wade Jr. have like much better numbers than a lot of the guys we're talking about, and maybe both play on teams that could be dealing. Certainly the A's should be in that position. Where do you stand on the veteran who, without a big name, who's kind of gotten better in the last couple of years and now actually puts up big numbers?
Well, it's funny. You mentioned the numbers. I asked one of our researchers the other day, I said, just give me the average right now, like the average slash line. It's like 238 average. It's like a 312 on base and like maybe a 412 slug. I go, that's unbelievable. Like those are really anemic numbers across the board. So to your point, like I used to think, 360 on base, 480 slugging, those are the barometers. But no, it's come down so drastically. So you're right. A guy like a Brent Rooker, you go, hey, man, he just missed out in the All-Star game. Like you could have made a case for the A's to have him in the All-Star game, 18 home runs. I think he has close to 50 RBI. I don't think the A's are asking for much. Like I think he's a good player, but he's not an outstanding player. So you're right. I wouldn't mind taking a flyer on a Rooker. Again, I need power. That guy supplies power. There's no question about it. The other thought is, and I don't agree with this, but I've heard some people say, what if the Mariners say, listen, we have this elite starting pitching. We all know that. That quintet is amazing. Just go get another arm. And I'm like, wait, what? They're like, you already have strength. Just pile strength upon strength. Like, look at the Dodgers. They now have 7 starting pitchers in the IL. So if Jerry can't find a big bat, just go, all right, fine. I'll load up and we're just going to win these games 2-1. I'm not a fan of that practice personally. I think when you're so imbalanced, you clearly need the offense and go target it. But I have heard some whispers about that. I don't know exactly what direction to go. Maybe, you always need a bullpen arm, as you know, Mike. When it comes to like deadline, all right, add a couple of bullpen pieces, like go in that direction. We're just going to be all about run prevention. I personally wouldn't go that task. I'd go get a bat.
What do you think the Diamondbacks do?
Well, that's an intriguing team because we were looking at, the teams in the mix right now in the National League. And Dan Plesac said to me, he goes, honestly, I'm still looking at the D-backs. I still think they're a team that's going to be in the mix. They made the World Series a year ago, the 84 wins. I said the Montgomery signing hasn't worked out. He said no. I said the Erod, et cetera. But Jock Peterson's been a good move because I still think they're very much in the mix. I said, okay, but are they buyers or are they sellers? Or are they simply standing pat? And he goes, ultimately, I think they might be buyers. And I said, wow. To me, I'm like, that's great if I'm a fan of this team. I'm like, we're a 500 team and we're still trying to add to a team. Like, that's kind of surprising to me. But he thinks that Arizona might add a pitcher or a bat, but I think they're more the type to stand pat. I feel like they made their moves in the offseason. They're just hoping to get healthy and hope these guys perform. Quite frankly, Corbin Carroll looked like an absolute stud a year ago. He's fought a season-long sophomore slump. Ketel Marte's been their one offensive player. He'll be starting in the All-Star game. But, yeah, it's been a disappointment after what they did a year ago.
Because they got some dudes that, again, would be really good fits, whether it's Paul Sewald returning or Christian Walker or even Ketel Marte if they wanted to get interesting. Them and then the Giants are another. I mentioned Lamont Wade. Do you think that I saw some stuff from the Giants, their GM basically saying that it was all about the players not performing well enough? I don't think that went over particularly well with the fan base. What do you think the Giants do?
Yeah, I think the Giants are one that's more inclined to make a move. You're right. I think Arizona says, hey, we made the World Series a year ago. We made some signs. We're not ready to punt quite yet on the season. Whereas the Giants, that's a disappointment. I would have thought with the moves they made in the offseason with Jung-Hoo Lee and Matt Chapman and Blake Snell, okay, that's enough to at least compete for a wild card, 85 wins. Instead, they get beat by the Blue Jays, and, again, they're a sub-500 team. Chapman I love because his WAR is so great. He's great defensively, but, again, he doesn't hit much for average. He'll hit you a few home runs. I'm with you on Lamont Wade. I think that's an intriguing piece. Great nickname, Late Night Lamont. I don't think he's costing you a ton. that's a good bat for me, a solid, dependable guy who can hit you home runs, who can hit for average. Like, yeah, I think the Giants are a team that I think Farhan Zaidi is pretty clear that he was expecting more from this team. They're not going to look to add, right? Snell didn't work out. He was out for a month. He's now back. Jung-Hoo Lee is obviously out for the season. So they spent their money in the offseason. They're certainly not adding. Either they stand pat or they sell, and I'm with you. I think that they'd be more inclined to sell, especially a guy like Lamont Wade.
I didn't realize he was late night Lamont. Where did that come from?
Yeah, apparently he had some great heroics, like from the 7th to the 9th innings, particularly last year. So they started calling him Late Night Lamont. And I don't know if it holds true necessarily for this year, but it's just too good a nickname. We just love alliteration, Mike. We got to stick with it. Late Night Lamont.
I love it. I'm all in on Late Night Lamont. That actually sounds pretty good. All right, one more here, and then we'll let you be on your day. And that is the suggestion, and I think this came from Ken Rosenthal, but I was kind of blown away by it, that the Mariners should consider trading one of their this is the opposite of what you were talking about, trading one of their major league arms to try to bring back something of great value, maybe Bryce Miller. And I will say I was horrified. I don't think you do that. I mean, maybe you don't need to add to your rotation, but I can't imagine trading major league starting pitching for a bat right now. What do you think?
I couldn't agree more. And in fact, the Blue Jays are a cautionary tale here because they had this great offense. They said, okay, rather than run scoring, let's focus on run prevention. We can deal Teoscar Hernandez, who's a subpar defender. Yeah, he hits home runs, but it's not worth it. We'll go get Eric Swanson from the M's, as you know. Oh, Swanson's an elite setup guy. That helps with run prevention. Had a good season. Now, this year he's been hurt, hasn't pitched well. Teoscar wasn't great with you guys, but goes to the Dodgers. He's an all-star once again, bashing home runs, been critical for the Dodgers this year. I don't like the idea of sacrificing strength to look for more balance, as you said, from a major league roster. When I look at that Mariners rotation, I know by the numbers Philadelphia is the best starting ERA, but you could put Seattle up there with anybody. Gilbert's an all-star. Castillo's an ace. Pitched great yesterday. I adore Kirby because as a guy who has coached way too many Little League games, I hate walks, and he hates walks more than me. So I love that Kirby's like, no, my strikeout to walk ratio every year is going to be like 9-1, 10-1. I'm like, let's go, George. And obviously Wu and Miller, as you said, with those arms, why would you sacrifice that kind of talent? I think those are one of those trades that would haunt you for years to come, unless you really feel like it's a real theft and it's something that you couldn't give up on. I'm with you. I would not sacrifice those 5 arms. No way.
How much do you love your job?
Oh, it's the best, man. I was thinking the other day, you know, people, I actually was watching guys doing construction. I go, you know how hot it is right now here in New Jersey? It's like 94 degrees and humid. And I go and literally put my feet up and talk baseball and spit out numbers. Like, what a joke of a job.
But you don't just talk baseball. You talk it with great passion, great excitement. There aren't a lot of people who attack it with the same vigor that you do. And so it's much appreciated. It's always great to catch up with you. We'll do it again. Let's not wait so long next time. We'll talk soon.
No, I appreciate it, Mike. Fellow Seamhead, so I always appreciate and love your passion for baseball as well. And best you in the family as always, man. Those are really fond memories when we had those shows together. 4 to 7, dominating on the Gottlieb show. Hopefully we'll shout out to Dan Stanzik, Adam Klug, the whole crew.
Do you think Gottlieb's going to have us come in and fill in for him as a coach now that he's coaching?
That was my favorite part of the story. It was not that he got the job. I was so happy for Doug. I said, that's great. He's such a great college basketball mind. He's so passionate. I said, no, he's keeping the job.
Of course he is.
Like, wait, what?
Of course he is.
He's talking about Bronny James is going to go run suicides with his team. I go, only Gottlieb would do that.
Well, and also he never does his own show anyway. So why wouldn't he keep it and still get paid for it? All right. Goodbye, Adnan. Good to talk to you, man.
Thanks, Mike.
There you go. Adnan Virk of MLB Network, formerly of ESPN, and truly one of my favorites. I love that guy. He and I have had a lot of fun over the years. We used to fill in for Doug Gottlieb a ton, and there you go. All right, let's switch gears. We'll come back. There's still a lot of baseball to talk, but from baseball to football, it's time for Blue 88.
This is Brock and Salk's Blue 88.
Blue 88! Blue 88!
We take you to the field as Brock Ewert breaks down 3 football questions as only he can.
Now here's your hosts, Brock Ewert and Mike Salk.
All right, we got a little Michael Bumpus filling in for Brock today. Brock kind of big-time me, so now we got Bump. What's going on, dude? How are we?
Good morning. Good morning. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Excited to ask you some football questions. Unfortunately, I'm going to start one that's sort of a bummer, but an opportunity to pay homage to a legend. Monty Kiffin, legendary defensive coach, passed away yesterday. When you think of Monty Kiffin, what will his legacy be?
Man, you think of Monty, I think you can go way back to his, getting a DC job at Nebraska back in, the 70s. But naturally, me being a 38-year-old man, I go back to the 2000s and him bringing the Tampa 2 to the NFL. You know, like I was literally sitting there playing video games with my son the other day, and I have him draw plays on a whiteboard, and he just brings up the Tampa 2. And I'm like, all right, tell me the responsibilities, and he's going through it. And I kid you not, this was like 3 days ago, and he's breaking down Tampa 2, and then I hear Monty passes, and I go, man, that's Monty right there. And the fact that he was able to be in the league so long and still contribute is amazing, because we talk about a lot of these offensive guys these days, you know, the McVays, the Shanahans and stuff. And 20, 30 years from now, I think they might talk about them the way that we talk about Monty Kiffin, like just being an innovator. I mean, there's no Warren Sapp without him. There's no Brooks without him. He's been amazing. And my first real introduction to Monty Kiffin was actually through Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin was recruited me at USC. And I go to USC, and Lane's drawing stuff on the board, and just Monty walks by. He just waves, and hey, how you doing, Monty? And then keeps it pushing. Then naturally, I go home, and I keep doing more research on Monty. So, man, he's just an OG in the game is what we call him, man. It's sad to see him go, but there's something about defenses, man. That Tampa 2 and the way he taught it and what he brought to the NFL will be there forever. Offenses are going to change, right? But defense has always got to be able to react. You always got to cover the field, get after the quarterback. So he might not be with us anymore, but when you watch football, man, he's all over the field.
Great answer. Question number 2. All right, which of these 3 rookies surprises people the most this year? James, Pritchett, or Laumea? The 2 cornerbacks or the offensive lineman?
Here's the tricky answer right here. I don't think any of them are really going to surprise. I think they're all going to be rookies. I think that the 2 DBs that you mentioned are going to have to play special teams. You got Witherspoon, you got Reek, you got Trey Brown, you got a bunch of guys in that secondary. I think you might see them here and there. They might have to play because of an injury or 2, or maybe just be on special teams. But I just see them being rookies. And as far as Ameyu, I think it's going to be the same situation. You drafted Christian Haynes, you got Anthony Bradford, you got your 2 tackles. You have 2 centers going at it with Nick Harris and Olu. You might see him, because we all know what happens with this offensive line. Guys get banged up all the time. So I don't think they're not going to be contributors to the group project, but I don't see any of them just hitting the scene and making a whole bunch of noise and snatching somebody's spot, because it's competitive out there. And I think that's a good thing. They can sit, they can marinate, they can learn. Maybe later on in the season they get more reps. But I don't see any of those guys, and it's no disrespect to them. I'm not saying they're not capable of doing it, but I'm just saying, like, there's some levels they got to get through to get to the boss man. You know what I mean? And they're going to have to grind a little bit. So I wouldn't say surprise anybody, but I think that they will contribute, and you will see them. But man, there's some dogs on that team right now, Mike.
Question number 3. Who's more amped up, by the way, Bump or Adnan? Both guys come in with a ton of energy this morning on a Friday. I love it. Bump, 3rd question for you. Why doesn't Quandre Diggs have a job, and will he?
He doesn't have a job because he's 31 years old, and his agent is trying to get the most that he can when it comes to him getting paid. He will have a job. You look at Quandre over the last, 3 or 4 seasons, he's got about 15 picks. I think last year was his down year when it comes to interceptions. I think he had 1, but he did have way more tackles than he has over the years. I believe 95. Years before that, he's been around 75 or something like that. This is where he is in his career. When you're 31 years old, you're not going to take the league minimum. You're going to demand a bit more. You got to sit around and wait to see if someone gets banged up. And we saw that with Jamal Adams. Now, Jamal had more of a connection to the Tennessee Titans as agent and then DB coaches. There was a connection there, and Jamal's in a different boat. He's willing to take less. Quandre Diggs is like, look, man, I was a 3-time Pro Bowler before last year. I was a leader on that Seahawks defense. I'm going to need more money. Excuse me. So he's got to sit home. He's got to wait, stay in shape, and when training camp comes around and somebody goes down, he's going to get a call. He's going to get a job. I'm not worried about Quandre Diggs, man. He's still got a lot of football left in him.
All right, there you go. That is today's Blue 88 with Michael Bumpus filling in for Brock there. When you talk about the Tampa 2, what is the defining characteristic of that? Obviously, it's 2 deep safeties, but beyond that, what sets it apart?
It's getting that Mike linebacker to drop in the middle of the football field. And when you think of old school traditional football, I think of at least those linebackers with the cowboy collar who could barely move their neck and look stiff as heck, right? So when you play that Tampa 2, you have that Mike who can play center field and is a versatile player. It was really ahead of his time because when you think about linebackers back in the early 2000s and 90s, they weren't like the ones today. Like, we're going to see Jerome Baker. I've seen Jerome Baker on film. Man, he can move. He can cover. Dotson can do it as well. Oh, side note, Mike, I wanted to tell you, the rookie that I think is going to surprise is Tyrese Knight, because I think he's going to compete with Dotson for a spot because of the things that.
Well, that's why I didn't put him on the list. He that one wasn't fair. That was too easy.
Yeah, but that's what it is. It's really the Mike. You still got your too high. You got your corners. Your gap integrity when it comes to the defensive line. It's that backer who can play center field and make plays in coverage.
How was Dan Bilesma yesterday?
He was great. Did you hear the interview?
Yeah, I did. We've been playing stuff from it all morning. I got more out of him in terms of what he wants the system and the identity to be than I got in 3 years of Dave Haxtell. I thought it was great.
He was amazing, man. I'm an old school kind of guy. So as soon as we had to bleep him out 3 times, I said, Coach, I can play for you, man. Keep it 100, keep it real. I'm glad we pre-recorded that thing because the Curtis would have had a heck of a time trying to bleep that out. But he was awesome. I loved him.
So you like Tyrese Knight, huh?
I like Tyrese Knight, man. He has a great feel. He's when I watch film on him, he's great at diagnosing what's going on. He reads his keys. If linemen are pulling, he's right where he needs to be. He's not like a real explosive player, but a real smooth, slippery type of player. But once he hits you, man, you're going to feel it. He's just a smart football player.
Well, I trust Bump. I've told this story many times. I'll tell it again. I was sitting with Michael Bumpus at the Seahawks facility when they drafted Tariq Woolen, and everyone else is like, I never heard of that guy. Who's Tariq Woolen? And Bump's like, oh, my God, this is going to be great. This guy's unbelievable. He went to some small school that nobody's ever heard of, but I watched him. He's awesome. I was like, okay, if you say so. And then he turned out to be like almost the rookie of the year out of nowhere, 5th-round pick. So I trust Bump. If he says Tyrese Knight's going to be good, I believe him. Appreciate it, man. Have a good show today.
Thanks, Mike. Take care.
You got it. There you go. Michael Bumpus, great job bumping Stacy, and fun to have him on this morning for a little Blue 88. Was that like an incredibly impassioned, urgent half hour between Adnan and Bump?
Either guest took a breath.
Man, I said it was Friday. It was just a day to chill.
No.
And instead, they both came out like a house of fire. All right. Well,
they understood the assignment.
Can we back it off a little bit? Things are getting a little too intense for a Friday. We will do that next. Brock and Salk, Seattle Sports on 710, seattlesports.com.
Get the national perspective on the Mariners.
Swing and a miss and a slider, strike 3.
With Jeff Passan, Tuesday mornings at 8:30.
I don't think that it is unrealistic to believe that they have the talent and the ability to win a championship with this team.
And John Morosi, Thursdays at 5 p.m.
Their DNA remains intact. This is a rotation-dependent team.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
The Bite is back. The Bite of Seattle returns to Seattle Center, July 19th through the 21st. Over 250 delicious food and retail vendors, plus games and live music. Admission is free. Enjoy a Seattle summer tradition at the Bite of Seattle with delectable multicultural cuisine, live entertainment, and fun for everyone. Under new management, cash and card payments are accepted by all vendors. Taking over Seattle Center July 19th through the 21st. Come to The Bite, biteofseattle.com.
Lexus is electrified, and the first ever RZ450E has the performance and range to get you where you need to go. With the exclusive Lexus Direct 4 all-wheel drive technology, Lexus of Bellevue has over 50 RZs available for immediate delivery with electrifying savings. Up to $18,500 lease cash on every RZ450E. Visit lexusofbellevue.com.
On approval of credit through LFS. Lease cash from Lexus available on select 2024 RZ styles. Must take delivery by July 31st, 2024. A documentary service fee up to $200 may be added to the purchase price or capitalized costs. See dealership for details.
Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from. Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Get ready for an all-time anniversary bash. The Mariners are celebrating 25 years at T-Mobile Park with a fireworks spectacular Friday, July 19th. The team is squaring off against the Astros, and after the game, we'll be throwing it back to the most memorable Mariners moments at the best ballpark in baseball. From the legend of Ichiro.
And there it is! He's a new all-time hit king in Major League history, number 258.
To the perfection of Felix.
A perfect game by a Seattle Mariner. It was done by the king.
To the magic of clinch night.
Cal Raleigh with a walk-off home run. How sweet it is. And the Mariners are going to the playoffs.
This is a post-game party you won't want to miss. Go to Mariners.com/fireworks to get your tickets and check out the rest of this summer's Mariners fireworks lineup presented by T-Mobile. Mariners baseball. Tridents up.
X marks the spot. Now through September 21st, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for 12 months with a 1-year contract for just $15 a month. You can add the new Stream Saver that includes Peacock, Apple TV Plus, and Netflix. That's Xfinity internet and Stream Saver for just $35 a month. All of your favorites, all in one place, only for my friends at Xfinity. So go ahead and binge some shows, stream some movies, and save some money all at the same time. For more watching and less spending, X marks the spot. Switch to Xfinity, the network made for streaming, and bring on the good stuff. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or go visit a local store today. Restrictions do apply. Internet offer requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Equipment taxes and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Currently $54 a month. Actual speeds vary. Stream Saver requires Xfinity Internet or TV, and price subject to change. So make the call to 1-800-XFINITY.
At Shane Company, we'll help you design an engagement ring as unique as your love story. We have the widest selection of diamonds and gemstones for you to choose from, and you can compare them side by side right here in our store. Only at Shane Company can you sift through exquisite diamonds, rubies, and a rainbow of sapphires in a variety of shapes and sizes. We'll help you create your dream engagement ring no matter your price range. Choose the ring setting that speaks to your style, from classic to modern to vintage. We offer so many ways to personalize your ring. Pick your favorite center stone, add a decorative crown and a custom engraving, or select a perfectly preset ring that's ready to go. At Shane Company, our jewelers know how much your ring means to you. They hand-set each center stone with precision and pride in our jeweler's workshop, so you can feel confident knowing your ring is crafted with the greatest care and comes with an unmatched free lifetime warranty that lets you know we'll always be here for you. Your love story deserves to shine bright. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Give me a freaking auto!
This is Brock and Salk.
I don't read the internet, guys.
Take the bull by the hands.
On Seattle Sports.
And Brooke, you are. And Brooke, you are.
Styled by Simply Seattle.
Now here are your hosts, Brock Eward and Mike Salk.
Text message 206. Who's a better golfer, Salk or Bump? I'd say Bump. We haven't played together in a few years. We've tried. You know what? I take that back. We played together a year or two ago out at Snoqualmie Ridge. He's better than I am.
Can he swing it? Like, is he a stick?
He's a good golfer. He's not like like Brock. Both of them are better than me, I would say. But it's not like such a huge difference that you're like, you can't even go out with them. Bump's a good golfer, though. He's fun. He's really fun to play with because he's just such a nice guy and easy to be around and conversational and all of that. So, yeah.
I'm assuming professional athletes take coaching pretty well. So that's.
Well, yeah.
If somebody's like, hey, try this.
I was coaching him up on the,
good.
on the course, trying to really help him.
So it does say more about you. That's good.
Yeah, of course. I heard something last night, and I mentioned that it's okay to disagree with people you like, and that's what I'm going to do. I watched the ESPYs, which I enjoyed, and they're flawed. Let me just say it. I can go through a little bit of my ESPY take here leading into this. The ESPYs are flawed. They're not perfect. certainly the production value last night, especially since it was on national TV on ABC, I thought the production value actually left a lot to be desired. They had a couple of issues with intro and outro, and I guess for a lot of folks at the end, it just ended because the timing was off. And maybe some of that is having a host in Serena Williams, who's not a professional host. She's a professional tennis player who I think did a good job considering she's a professional tennis player. And if that's but she's not, it's not like when Jamie Foxx hosted or when,
or a Kimmel or anybody who's in
Seth
show business
Meyer
where they can get in their
like
ear and be like, hey, actually cut this.
I mean, it's a hard gig for her.
Totally.
It's new and it's different. And I thought she did really well for that, but it led to some kind of choppiness and some uncomfortable. That's fine. I mean, that doesn't really bother me that much. The awards are sort of silly. Who wins, who gets nominated, what the awards are. The awards are really just an excuse to get all of those people together in a room and, see them all together and hopefully have some laughs. Honestly, I prefer when they go with a comedian as the host because I think the fun of the ESPYs is to have more laughs. And that's not who Serena is. I mean, she did a nice job, again, for not being a professional. But my favorite ESPYs were when Seth Meyers hosted, Jamie Foxx, like, people that are funny. I think that's a big part of it is being willing to laugh at the athletes and laugh at the folks there. Tracy Morgan, I just think you can make it more fun with a professional comedian. But I get it. That's sort of a dying breed, and a lot of comedians don't want to do that because if they make a joke and then they get canceled, all right, fine, whatever. Mm-hmm. And they probably go a little too heavy on the heavy stuff. Right? I mean, first it was the Prince Harry thing, which was awesome, the Pat Tillman Award. And then it was Don Staley and the Inspiration Award. And then it was Steve Gleason. By the third one, you're like, hey, I only have so much capacity for these types of stories, and they're all incredible. Right? Steve Gleason's story is incredibly inspirational and beautiful and wonderful and sad and all of it. But by the time you're on the third one, it's like, okay, this has kind of been a lot of this, but in general, I like it. And I thought all three of those segments they did were phenomenal. They did one bit where Venus Williams came out, which is great. I love Venus Williams. I think she's a great character. I think it's so interesting that she kind of paved the way for her sister, and then ultimately her sister wanted it more and became just the way she is. Just dominates tennis for as long as she did. Was it 23 Grand Slam titles or whatever? Just unbelievable. But Venus kind of paved the way for her, and they were teammates, they were sisters, they played against each other. So I liked seeing them together. And they made a nice speech with the gal from the show my kids like, Elementary, I think it's called. Abbott Elementary, something like that. But the goal of the speech was sort of like, hey, for those of you new to women's sports, let me tell you and help you watch them. It's just sports. And then they kind of went from there. And a lot of what they said I thought was great. That seemed to be a big part of the message of the ESPYs, was sort of the moment that women's sports was having. And I thought that was cool. I mean, I think, did they overdo it? Yeah, probably. I mean, did they lean so far into it that at some point you're like, this is a cool moment, but also baseball still gets played, right? Do we still have hockey? Is there still basketball, football? There is still more than this, but okay, whatever. We've seen plenty of ESPYs with lots of, male athletes. If this is the one that's going to focus on the female athletes, it just doesn't bother me. It just I don't necessarily need it, but it doesn't bother me. What did bother me was the line, you can root for more than one athlete at once. You can root for more than two. You can root for two women at once. You can root for Caitlin Clark and for Angel Reese. Can you? You can definitely root for two athletes at once, of course.
I don't think you have to pick a side if that's what you're suggesting.
I think you do.
Really?
On a rivalry? Yes.
Okay, yeah, okay, on a rivalry.
That's a rivalry.
But you don't have to tear the other one down.
I didn't say that. Okay. But look, can you root for Peyton Manning and Tom Brady? No. Of course not. You can't root for Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. That's just not how sports works. At least not for me. Maybe there are other people who can do that. I don't. I don't function that way. I think rivalry is at the peak of what makes sports great. And there is a budding rivalry over a few years now between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. I don't want to like them both. It doesn't mean you have to hate one and talk down to her or anything like that, but I want there to be good and bad guys for each person. I want half the people to love Angel Reese and half the people to love Caitlin Clark. I don't think you need to love both. That, to me, that was a step too far for me. I'm not into that.
Yeah, and I think you're right, because both can be true. Like, you can appreciate and respect both, but not want one to be, the what's the word I'm looking for? The loser, right? Like, you can be like, that's my athlete that I cheer for, the Peyton and the Brady comp.
Yeah, I don't know. I root against Peyton.
You want Brady to lose.
For years, I wanted Peyton to lose. Yes, absolutely.
I just don't think it's like, not just one of them is deserving of admiration or respect or whatever. You can do both, right? Like, you can still root for one to win without being like, I want this person to fail.
I have trouble with that. I do. That's not how I'm wired.
I get it. I mean, I understand.
When it comes to rivalries, I want the other side to lose.
Yeah.
I want them to have pain. Not physical pain. I don't want them to get hurt.
I think we know you're
But
not
yes, of course I want them to lose. That's sports. There's a winner, there's a loser. There's a team I'm rooting for, and then there's a team I'm rooting against. There's a rivalry.
And they are pitted against each other.
And it's not true in every game. Some games you don't give a you-know-what about. But when two rivals play against each other, I don't know. I find it very difficult to not choose sides. And it is hard for me to root for both Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, even if I can respect both for what they're doing for the league. Yeah, I don't know whether I need to promote rooting for both at the same time. You guys can let me know what you think. 866-979-3776. 866-979-3776. That is the Mac and Jack's text line, and certainly I will read a few of your texts on this and a whole lot more. Stick around. It's Brock and Salk, Seattle Sports on 710 and seattlesports.com.
The Dugout. Go in depth with the Mariners.
Leaps up and he makes the catch.
With voices like Ryan Roland Smith, Gary Hill, and Mike Blowers.
Long-term pitching, if you have that foundation, good things are going to happen. It makes him so valuable when he's hitting.
This team is a team that's going to have to bunch hits together, put pressure on the defense.
Hear from the players and coaches, and go behind the scenes with insider Shannon Dreyer.
They find a way to grind it out, stay in the game. I thought it was a really good win for them.
The Dugout, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. on Seattle Sports.
Paid political announcement. A Bob for Bob update. Public transparency is for other Bobs. Did you know Attorney General Bob Ferguson's office averaged 80 days to respond to public records requests? 78 days more than the average Washington government office. Can you afford that type of response from your governor as a Washington voter? You heard it here first. Bob wants you to vote Bob because he doesn't have time to respond to you. Paid for by the Bob for Bob Committee, 1283 Puyallup, Washington, 98371. Top 4 donors, Steve Gordon, Fremont Dock Company, Brian Haywood, and Susie Burke.
It's Extreme at Emerald Queen Casino Event Center, Saturday, September 7th. With special guest, Living Color. From burning hard rock to introspective ballads. Don't miss Extreme with special guest Living Color, September 7th at Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. 21 and older. Need gambling help? Call 800-547-6133 or visit emeraldqueen.com.
Window Nation can help beat the heat in your home with a buy two, get two free offer on insulated, energy-efficient windows plus 0 down and no interest or payments for 2 years. Schedule an in-home estimate now at 866-90-NATION or windownation.com.
Simply Seattle, presenting sponsor of the Brock and Salk Show and your one-stop shop for all things Seattle sports. Shop online or visit the shop on First and Pine by the Market. Use code Seattle Sports 15 for 15% off every order. SimplySeattle.com.
Hey, Brock Heward here, and I have had my share of sports injuries, and I know a little bit about pain. Well, that's what football will do to you from head to toe. But you don't have to play professional sports to know what I'm talking about. Painful joints from arthritis can affect anyone and make it hard to do pretty much anything. Well, that's where my friend, Dr. Daniel Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine comes into play. He has seen so many patients through the years suffering from chronic joint pain caused by arthritis. So don't let pain stop you from your quality of life. Don't let pain stop you from enjoying life. Consider Dr. Nelson the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. That's right, your own stem cells and platelet-rich plasma to harness your own body's healing potential. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit danielnelsonmd.com. That's danielnelsonmd.com. HomeDepot.com.
The light is fading, your hands are sore, and the last tool has been put away. Now is the time to feel the satisfaction that comes with a job well done. But when you get your tools from Harbor Freight, something about the job feels a little different. Your wallet. Because we believe that everyone deserves hardworking tools at hardworking prices. And that's what we have here. So, whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm? I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Overburdened with a bunch of stuff you don't want anymore, but feel bad throwing it away? John here with Happy Hauler, Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal. We prioritize donating and recycling. We'll help get your items to those in need instead of going to the landfill. At Happy Hauler, we pride ourselves on responsibility, community, and sustainability. We're a family-run small business that provides junk removal, donations, and recycling. Make yourself, your community, and the planet happy. It's time to reclaim your space. HappyHauler.com, hauling with a heart.
Hey, Bob Stelton here, and have you heard that metal roofs are all the rage? A metal roof lasts longer, it's more eco-friendly, and is a great option for adding solar panels. Asset Roofing is leading the local push in metal roofing, and they can even offer metal roofs for up to 30% less than their competitors. You're either hiring a liability or you're hiring an asset. Head to AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
We all know a cancer diagnosis is physically and emotionally challenging, but it can also be financially devastating. That's why Northwest Hope and Healing is here to help. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda, a plastic surgeon who is proud to be part of Northwest Hope and Healing's mission. We provide a lifeline for breast and gynecologic cancer patients by covering essentials like food, utilities, and childcare, so patients can focus on healing. Since the year 2000, Northwest Hope and Healing has distributed over $2.5 million to thousands of local cancer patients. And you can help us make an even greater impact. Mark your calendar for Life in Color, a summer brunch, auction, and fashion show on August 18th at the Golf Club at Newcastle. It'll be an unforgettable afternoon of hope and inspiration, celebrating local cancer survivors. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 18th. Go to nwhopeandhealing.org to learn more. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
Oh, man, I'm excited to read some of the texts that little conversation brought in. They are all over the map. Wow. Mariners get a nice win yesterday. It helps when you see a rookie starter who's not really supposed to be in the major leagues, which is what Jack Hanowitz really was. He lasted just 3 innings, got rocked. The Angels then brought in some other lefty random dude. He gave up 6 more runs. They're just terrible. J.P. Crawford with a home run. Cal did it once and then did it again from the other side of the plate.
Swung on, blasted, left field. Has he done it again? He has! It's gone! Cal Raleigh, both sides of the plate again. The second time this year, the third time in his career. Cal Raleigh, 3-run blast.
Yeah, second time in 3 days for Cal Raleigh, which I think makes for sort of a fun stat. Like it's sort of a fun novelty to homer from both sides of the plate. But when you hear Scott talk about it, it's a lot more valuable than just the novelty.
I think with Cal, it's just a matter of the timing issues from both sides of the plate. What excites me most is that when he turns around and goes right-handed, it has been just as impactful as it is left-handed. So it really doesn't put the manager doesn't know which way to go with him in there. So again, it's hard to do that from both sides of the plate. We got to keep him rolling.
Yeah, very, very cool, and a nice threat right in the middle of that lineup. It wasn't just Cal, though. It was the entire offense. Every starter got on base. Eventually, with the huge lead, they were able to take some guys out, let them get off their feet. Fun night at the ballpark. And for Luis Castillo, how nice to just have a huge lead and throw it on cruise control. Like, oh, I can just throw strikes? Sure. Okay. And he did. Deals for 6 shutout innings, only had to throw 86 pitches. None of them had any stress to them. Just a perfect way for him to go into the break. Unfortunately, the Astros won, so that's kind of a bummer. The lead remains at 2. They'll get back to it with the Angels tonight. Brian Wu to make his return against former Mariner Tyler Anderson. Anderson's actually had a really good year. As much as I make fun of the Angels, he's been the best player on there, so we'll see what they're able to muster against a pretty good lefty starter tonight.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
Talked to Michael Bumpus about a half hour ago, and I was asking him about Dan Bilesma, who they spoke to yesterday on that show. I thought it was a really great interview, and Bilesma impressed me because he sounds like he actually has a plan. We listened to Dave Haxtell over the course of 3 seasons, and I never knew what it was he was trying to accomplish with his team. I never understood what the identity was supposed to be, and I don't think it ever really showed up at any point during his tenure. Well, we haven't seen it yet from Bilesma, but I certainly heard it yesterday.
Last year, we dropped off in scoring goals, but we were good defensively. Good in the net, good in goaltending, and good defensively. Top 10 in the league defensively. But we dropped off in scoring goals last year as compared to 2 years ago. And I think there's some reasons for that, but you can't overlook the fact that they did play good defense. And that's something we're going to focus on continuing going forward. But I think the other mentality is, like, we just want to play. Fast hockey is winning hockey. Fast hockey and North hockey is winning hockey. It allows you to score more goals. It allows you to get to the offensive zone. And that's something where, as going forward, looking to next year, we're going to be much better at.
Okay, fast hockey is winning hockey. I can understand that. And maybe that helps understand Stevenson, who is a player that, you bring in for offense that doesn't really have a tremendous offensive resume, but maybe there's a speed factor there that fits with what they're trying to do. Certainly an offensive style defenseman that they bring in, and Brandon Montour, that makes some level of sense to me. So, we'll see how this goes. It's also going to be judged a little bit on how he's able to develop Shane Wright, their number 4 overall pick, who he's had in Coachella the last couple of years. And he says, he's getting older, he's getting more mature, and there's something in there.
The good thing the last year, I've just got to see Shane come to work every day and put in the time, put in the effort, and you can just continually see the growth in him as a person and him as a player throughout the last year. And I think you guys got to see a little bit of it when he came up at the end of the year last year in those 6 games and scored some goals. And I thought it was great for him to see the maturation process in his game throughout the whole year and get some results when he came up and played.
I would agree with all of that. So looking forward to seeing Dan Bilesma behind the bench this season.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
I mentioned that the ESPYs had some really cool moments yesterday. One of them was, of all things, Prince Harry accepting the Pat Tillman Award. I was surprised that that's the direction they chose to go with that Pat Tillman Award. But once you saw what Prince Harry does with these Invictus Games, it was sort of eye-opening. I did not know a lot about the Invictus Games, which are for injured veterans, and they looked wonderful. And the stories they told were incredible, and I thought his speech was tremendous.
There is a military expression that dates back to Roman times. The phrases translates roughly to leave no one behind. And they hold particular significance for the U.S. Army's Rangers. And I have no doubt Pat Tillman and his comrades lived by those words. So, it is fitting that I end with them and make a promise on behalf of all of us at the Invictus Games Foundation. No matter the road ahead, we are here for you. We will leave no one behind. Thank you.
I don't know anything about Prince Harry other than that he's married to Meghan Markle, who I only know because I watched Suits over the last couple of years. I'd never heard of her before then. I don't care about the royal family. Stacey, that's her department. I don't spend any time thinking
Didn't
about
watch the
it.
documentary.
I don't watch any of it. I don't give a you know what. I was enthralled, captivated. My entire family, all 4 of us, were totally transfixed by his speech yesterday. At least one member of my family asked if he could run for president. Like, well, I don't think he can. He's kind of British, unfortunately. I don't think that's going to work out. But I thought he was great, and it made for a very nice ESPY award show last night. That is everything you need to know. 1:15 every hour here on the Brock and Salk Show. Do you want some of the text messages on the?
I'm sure there are people who support both sides. I guess my ultimate point of the whole thing was that I know that there are people who shield their real hatred with, it's just my sports hatred, and there are some that maybe can hide behind that when they clearly have different.
I think that's true. If you have a different motivation for it, sure. I think that's fair. And obviously the whole women's sports thing and the race and gender and everything thrown together complicates that. And if that's what they're talking about, fine. But for me, rivals are rivals. And I don't root for, if I'm rooting for one, I'm not rooting for the other.
Sports don't exist without them.
That's how I view it. And we see a bunch of texts here. My favorite team is whoever's playing: the Yankees, Duke Blue Devils, Lakers, and Huskies. Okay. When the Yankees and Red Sox play, I root for both to lose. Okay, well, that's a different version. The world is so soft these days. Yes, I had a feeling one of those would come in. So, Mike, do you root against one of your daughters? There's a natural rivalry there. Is there? Why is there a natural rivalry between two siblings? If anything, we're trying to encourage our two siblings to be on the same team, to support each other, to be there for each other. And it happens, man. Yeah, somebody was talking. Cecily stood up and was like, no, you don't get to mess with my older sister. Like, she's the tough guy there.
And the rivalry for your attention, though.
Not really. I got enough love for both of them. Or I just don't pay attention to either of them.
They're all love or no love.
So I'll get that Boston talk out of here. Okay, I know, because only in Boston do they like rivalries. It's certainly not something that's relevant in the rest of sports. Anyway, that's just a few of the texts that came in. There you go. Please don't talk about Tillman. It's a sore subject for us veterans because he was fragged by someone. Yeah, look, I'm not talking about Pat Tillman. I'm talking about the award that is named after him. I mean, the only thing about Pat Tillman is what an incredible act of service that he opted to leave a career to go into a war that he thought was important. Pat Tillman is in his own world of incredible people and what he did. And Brock's got great stories of playing against him and what it was like lining up against him and the fear factor that he brought as an athlete and then what he's done and what he's inspired. Pat Tillman, an incredible figure. I was surprised when they gave that award to a British prince, but I thought he acquitted himself very well. And watching the speech last night and watching what those Invictus games do, if you are a veteran, I think the Invictus games is something you should check out. They looked incredible, seriously. And really, for veterans who are having a tough time dealing with injury and their families and the support that it brought them. Honestly, I didn't know a lot about it, and I came away totally blown away by the whole Invictus Games thing. So appreciate you guys. Appreciate the text. We're going to have some more opportunities for you guys to get involved a little bit later. We'll open up the phone lines in an hour, as we always do, at 9 o'clock. Got a whole lot more still to come before then, though, including the number 21 most intriguing Seahawk. That's only 35 minutes away. There's a lot to look forward to. Brock and Salk, Seattle Sports on 710.
The Dugout. Go in depth with the Mariners.
Goodbye, baseball.
With voices like Rick Riz, Aaron Goldsmith, and Dave Sims.
This is a club that has the ability to go on another run. You never know when a team is going to get hot.
This team's window is wide open.
Hear from the players and coaches and go behind the scenes with insider Shannon Dreyer.
We are seeing him comfortable with where he is at the plate. We're seeing a guy that has his timing.
The Dugout. Tuesdays at 1 p.m. on Seattle Sports.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here, along with IRG Physical and Hand Therapy President and CEO Shannon O'Kelly. Well, the seasons, they're changing. The guys are playing the sports outdoors. I know many are starting to maybe pull the lawnmower out and get back to the landscape and the outdoor work. I'm going to guess, Shannon, at IRG, maybe a little busier season?
Oh, absolutely, Brock. You know, we know when the seasons change, particularly when it gets warmer, people are in their houses pretty much all winter long with our cold weather, rain, et cetera, particularly here in the Puget Sound. And everybody's excited. They want to rush out and get going with their activity. I'm telling you, as a physical therapist for 35 years here, you need to prepare your body. So take time to warm up, increase some flexibility, do some stretches, because if you prepare your body and prevent injuries, those activities outside, particularly that exciting thing, mowing your lawn, is going to be healthier and it's going to be a lot more fun.
And you feel better. For more info or to book your appointment today, simply go to irgpt.com. It's all waiting for you right there at irgpt.com.
Matt Coker here from West Coast Men's Health. Guys, if you're taking Viagra or any other pill for ED, I want you to ask yourself this question. Do I want to continue to do this for the rest of my life? If you're like most men, the answer is no. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we can restore blood flow naturally without pumping your body full of chemicals like you've been doing. Guys, you need to come in today and fix this problem now. Why are you putting this off? Viagra's not going to magically start working next week, and you don't want to use shots or go under the knife. Call us today and speak with our clinic manager. Ask him any question you like, how it works, the science behind it, and even the cost. Change your life today like the thousands of men who already have. If you're tired of dealing with ED or Peyronie's disease, then call West Coast Men's Health.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Summer's here and it's time for you to put yourself in the game. But you don't have to do it alone. Come visit the incredible showroom and the all-star team at Toyota of Kirkland. With a large selection of over 70 brand new Tundras and Tacomas on the lot, you'll be able to test drive one and take it home the same day. And don't forget about that lifetime powertrain warranty. Now that's how you become the MVP. Come in today or visit online at toyotaofkirkland.com. toyotaofkirkland.com.
Increase leads and get more customers. We create tailored digital marketing strategies that deliver results. So on your next campaign, aim higher. Go to aimyourdigital.com and get started today. aimyourdigital.com. Miss anything from the Brock and Salk Show? Remember, you can always catch the show on demand on seattlesports.com, the Seattle Sports app, or wherever you listen to podcasts. This message brought to you by Ascend Hospitality Group, Famous Dave's, Ascend Prime, and Stanford's.
Now is your time to get into a new D.R. Horton home by taking advantage of their National Red Tag Savings event going on right now through July 21st. Stop by any of their participating communities and find select Red Tag homes at incredible pricing. So whether you're buying your first home or looking for an upgrade, you don't want to miss the Red Tag Savings event going on right now. Discover the D.R. Horton difference at drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
Tired of spending endless hours on lawn care? Switch to Synthetic Turf Northwest, the Northwest leader in quality synthetic turf products and professional installation. With 28 years experience, we're your trusted source in Seattle, Tacoma, and Bellevue. Ask about our 18-month no-interest financing and start enjoying a beautiful, low-maintenance lawn today. Say goodbye to stress and hello to a lush green oasis with Synthetic Turf Northwest. SyntheticTurfNorthwest.com, 425-788-0718. Stop stressing about your lawn and start enjoying it.
It's not too late to become a 2024 Mariners season ticket member. Check out a Mariners Flex membership, a great option for fans who want the flexibility to choose their games and seats all summer long, while still enjoying the perks of being a member. With a Flex membership, you'll receive benefits like savings of 10% or more on tickets with no fees, access to exclusive pre-sales, year-round discounts at the team store and the box yard, and so much more. Go to mariners.com/flex to learn more about becoming a part of the Mariners family.
Hey, Brock Ewart here with my buddy Dave Taylor from First Mark Insurance. So glad, so thankful that Molly and I made the call. Had heard so many First Mark Challenge victories, we needed to take that challenge. What does happen from your perspective when that caller, when that email, when that person reaches out to you for a First Mark Challenge victory?
That's a great question. So there's several steps we go through in the process. The first step is we're going to gather information, find out all we can about that client and what their needs are. The next step is we will go out to the market. We have dozens and dozens of carriers that will compete for the business. At the end of that process, we will then bring those findings back to the customer, show them what we found, and who the eventual winner was in that competition.
And it may be who they're with.
It might be, yes. And sometimes that's the best we can do is recommend they stay where they are, but maybe modify a few coverages to put them in a better position.
So go take that challenge today. Go be the next First Mark Challenge victory. It costs you nothing, and they will be there with you every step of the way. FirstMarkInsurance.com. FirstMarkInsurance.com.
You're listening to Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
State of Love and Trust this morning here on Brock and Salk, Seattle Sports on 710, seattlesports.com. No G. Scott. I'm sorry, G's on vacation. I know everybody looks forward to giving the people what they want. Fridays at 8:30, but
the time.
I know G's not here. I'm looking out there, and
He's in Atlanta.
Is that where he is? He's in Atlanta?
According to, I follow him on Instagram, so that's what I'm seeing. He's in Atlanta.
He's in Atlanta. All right. Well, so unfortunately, no G today, so we won't get a 25 minutes of mostly relationship conversation and trying to figure out, what's worse, holding hands or kissing another girl. I'm like, all these things are just kind of going away. Mora's not here today either. Brock's not here today. We got Frank in for Mora. Frank, say hi to everybody. I like making Frank talk.
Hi to everyone.
There's Frank. Frank's a quiet guy. I really like Frank, but he's very quiet. He doesn't.
Very interesting. Every single time we meet Frank, he tells us something new about his life.
Do you find that that's true too often? Like, I'm not a quiet guy. I don't know whether I'm interesting or not. I'm sure that there's probably a split opinion on that. Frank's super interesting. I want him to just talk. Like, Frank, just tell us more about your life. Every time you open your mouth, something fascinating comes
Singing
out.
competition. Was it Romania? I remember where you went.
Estonia, yeah.
Estonia? Okay.
That's Estonia?
Sorry, come on.
There's so much going on here. I'm like,
Justin,
what?
The man was in Estonia.
Yes.
Please give it some credit.
Called himself working last night. What'd you call yourself that you were doing? Or you were a
goon.
You're a goon.
Anyway,
Okay.
it's good to have you.
Appreciate
Frank.
you being here,
We
Frank.
always appreciate you, and more will be back on Monday as well. So, all right, couple of things that I wanted to go through. I've got like a bunch of kind of short subjects to kind of buzz through, and then we might have time for a little which is better before this is over.
Let's do
We'll
it.
see. All right, number one. I was thinking about this last night. The full list of participants for the home run derby came out, right? And I've seen a bunch of people with some different takes on it. Somebody was asking how we could like turn it more into like WWE with faces and heels and good guys and bad guys and all that. Here's what because there's no Mariner in there, obviously. No Mariner can hit, let alone be in the home run derby this season. So that wasn't a likely scenario. But
okay.
I wish Julio was in it.
Oh, yeah.
Not just because it's fun to watch Julio. I think Julio should have asked to get into this home run derby. And I think that they should have found a way, if you're the Mariners, to lobby for it and get Julio in there. Not because of his star power or the smile, not because he still might win it, because that's who Julio is, and he's, fantastic at the home run derby, but because each time he's done it, he's come out of it on fire. If you're the Mariners and you believe that the key to Julio's success is getting him out in front, right? Getting him to hit the ball out in front, pulling it rather than waiting for the ball to travel and then hitting it more to right field. If the key to Julio's success is that home run derby swing, you know what he could maybe do? Participate in the home run derby.
Call his buddy Fromby.
Something like that.
Yeah.
What are the rules? Are there rules to the home run derby? Do you have to have a certain number of home runs? Do you have to? You don't have to be an all-star, right?
Only, I think, at 11.
Okay. And do you have to be an all-star? I don't think so, right? You don't have to be an all-star. I feel like they've had players that aren't all-stars participate in the home run derby before. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like you don't need to be an all-star. Anyway, maybe the rules say that...
there's been 3 who have won it without being selected to the game.
All right, so he could be there. Get him in there. Let Julio... Now, I always love when my players get extra rest, and Julio hasn't exactly done anything this year to be present around the All-Star game, but I think it might actually help him. Now, in the meantime, something does seem to be helping him right now. The guy has 7 hits in his last 3 games. I know they've come mostly against non-competitive major league pitchers, but hey, whatever. Give the man credit. He's got 7 hits just in his last 3 games. Looking at it a little more broadly, I saw this from Cameron at our station last night. Julio is 10 for his last 19. That's pretty good. With 2 home runs and 3 doubles since July 4th. That's pretty good, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has as many extra base hits in the past 19 at-bats since July 4th as he had in his previous 134 at-bats before that. Yikes. It speaks to the fact that he's obviously been better since the 4th, but also that he was really, really, really struggling before that. Do you believe that Julio is starting to snap out of it? 2 games against bad pitchers isn't enough. Honestly, it's not. 2 games against 2 pitchers that probably shouldn't be in the major leagues. First was Adam Mazur in San Diego, and then last night, Jack Kahanowitz. Neither of those guys should be in the major leagues. They just shouldn't. They are right now because the Angels are a disaster and because the Padres have a ton of injuries, but neither of those guys are real major league starters. They're certainly nowhere near the top end of that. If they're anything, they're spot starters.
Yeah, and you saw what happened in Game 2 in San Diego against King. He went 0 for 4.
That's right. So
4 strikeouts.
Seeing that kind of back and forth is a reason to not feel like Julio has completely turned the corner and everything is fine. But the flip side of that is July 4th is going back farther than just those couple of games. And also, it coincides exactly with his hitting coach showing up and working with him to make some changes, both to his swing and to his mentality and to his emotions. We've talked about this before. There's 3 components to being a baseball player. You've got your physical ability and technical stuff. In this case, we're talking about Julio's his mechanics, right? I suppose you really have 4, I should say. First, you've got your body, your strength, your flexibility, what you choose to work on in the off season and throughout at the gym. What are you trying to make your body look like? And I think there's a real question as to whether or not Julio has tried to make his body too strong. Second, your mechanics. Right, the physical attributes. What are you mechanically working on in the batter's box? And clearly something was off with Julio's. He was not well balanced, right? Problems with his lower half. And then there seemed to be something going on with his top hand that was not right. And so ultimately, and I'm no swing coach or guru, so I don't really have any freaking idea what I'm talking about. When it comes to that stuff, I go based on what I've heard and listened to and asked of other people who do understand that. And I've talked to 2 different professional major league hitting coaches. I've talked to other folks in the business, and that's what they tell me. Okay, so maybe he got too strong. Maybe his swing was off, his mechanics were off. The third thing that you look at is his approach, mental. And his mental approach also seemed to be off. Swinging too hard, swinging at the wrong pitches, not being able to recognize what was coming at him, not understanding how the pitchers were trying to get him out and adjusting accordingly. That's all mental. It's not intelligence. But it's using your intelligence to create a plan and to figure out a strategy and then implementing it in a game. So that's the third component, okay? You've got the physical in terms of the work you do, the physical in terms of your technique. You've got the mental in terms of your approach. And then the last part for me, and this is different from mental, is emotional. Where are you at emotionally? This is one we talked about a lot with Jared Kelenic. Right? We kept saying, look, Kelenic has the mental approach to the game is great. The emotional response to the game is not. That's where we were at with Jared Kelenic for quite some time. Mental and emotional sound similar, right? Because they both involve thinking in the brain and all that, but they're very, very different, at least for me.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
And
well said.
I think for Julio, I don't know where the emotion was at. I don't know if he wasn't feeling confident or not. So I don't know how much I can speak to it, or any of us can. Certainly, I'm sure going, what would we say, 10 for 19? Hitting a bunch of extra base hits, seeing the ball leave the ballpark, being rewarded for some of the changes he's making in the batter's box. I think all of those things will help the emotional. But Julio does such a good job of compartmentalizing all the different parts to his game so that when he's in the batter's box, that's one thing. When he's on the base paths, that's another. When he's in the outfield, that's a third. And we've seen the tremendous play he made the other day. And then honestly, when he's in the dugout as a fourth, he's a tremendous dugout presence. He really is. He's happy. He's engaged. He's rooting for all of his teammates, even when he's not having a good game. All of those
tossed
things
out
matter.
for him sometimes.
I thought that was great. I had no problems with that whatsoever. He's already out of the game, whatever.
Sure, and it's easy to say he's so good at compartmentalizing things, but we don't really know. Like he hadn't had a great year on the base pass.
That's right.
He had a couple plays that escaped him in the outfield, but he's for the most part been well above what any other center fielder you'd probably have in this situation be. But the other part of it, which you hear constantly for 2 years now, as Julio goes, the Mariners will go. And you can't tell me he doesn't know and understand and hear all that. So when the Mariners aren't going, he feels now another train car behind him pushing. So when guys like Cal starts going off, or Rayleigh or whomever, and you get more of those in a game, can you imagine how much freer you probably feel now? Yes. It's like, okay, I got a few of those bodies off my shoulders, and I don't have to be the one that's carrying it right now.
100%. Great call. So where is Julio at? I don't think we know yet. This isn't a segment to say that everything is fixed and Julio is fine, but it is, I think, a chance to look at it with some level of hope, right? And say, okay, maybe this is the beginning of the corner being turned. Maybe there was a fix to what he was doing in the batter's box. Maybe there was a change to his approach. And if all of those things can come together with his confidence and his emotional state, hopefully, again, I'm speaking with hope, this leads to seeing Julio return to the form that we've seen before. I think that would be really, really
It's also just, he's a human being. Like, we love to think that our superstars are not human beings.
No, he is. He's an actual human.
Yes.
It's true.
There could be other things going on that we don't know about.
He's an actual human.
And often you hear about those things.
Very true. All right. Second point, and this is related, and that is what's going on with Jorge Polanco. Because I do you think that he was waiting? Honestly, there are times where I'm convinced. Do you think that he was waiting for me to come out and say that I just couldn't watch him anymore?
Yes, it was just you.
I don't
Nobody
mean to
else.
make this about me, but like I feel like I'm patient. Everybody gets mad at me for being patient. I remain patient. They get more mad at me. I hold my ground. I remain patient. I give up. Fine. Okay, you're right. He stinks. He goes 5 for his next 7. Like, what is the deal, man? This stupid freaking sport that just takes you to the breaking point every time. It is so maddening. You're like, okay, I tried. I finally am giving up. I finally can't watch this guy hit anymore. He doesn't look like what you need in a major league lineup. Scott should bench him. They should take the bat out of his hand.
They should 6 games.
I said they should sit him for the rest of the
Until the
time
break.
before the All-Star break. He's been like their best hitter since then. That's not true.
That's not true.
Cal and
That's
Julio
yeah.
have both been awesome. But he's been a completely different guy than he was for any time leading up to it.
And good
right?
defensively.
How is that even possible? But same thing. His hitting coach is the same guy as Julio's hitting coach. Maybe there's a swing flaw. Maybe there's an approach factor. Maybe there was an emotional thing. Whatever it is, if they get it fixed, it would be a huge lift for this team. It would be enormous.
Absolutely. No question. We've talked about this a little bit with other players, guys who have played 5-6 years in other teams, or in his case, 10, and get thrown into a new environment. There's got to be a whole different set of growing pains that even a veteran is going to take a lot of time to work through. Maybe there's not. Maybe he's just lost it and he's cooked. But you're right. In the last week, I guess 4 games, something's changed. 3 games. Something changed. The 2 in San Diego
Well,
and
it's
last
not even
night.
just that he's hitting.
Better at bats.
His defense has looked better.
Yeah.
The at-bats have looked better. His energy has looked better. Honestly, it has. And I know that it's hard to show energy when you're not hitting, but he looks like a different player even in the field than he did at any point earlier where it looked like he was just dragging out there. Now he doesn't. So, I don't know, maybe he's carrying himself in a different way. Maybe it's a fake it till you make it. Maybe just a couple of hits or seeing his hitting coach or whatever it is instill a little confidence that just got him back to being the player that you want him to be. But again, as much as Julio is the number one thing. If you can get Julio going, it changes the trajectory of your season. Number 2 would be to get somebody else going with him. Could you get the Ty France that was an all-star 2 years ago? Could you get the Mitch Haniger that we saw a couple of years ago that helped carry this team?
Second half Garver last year.
Could you get the Mitch Garver that was in the playoffs last year and dominating for Texas? Could you get the J.P. Crawford that we saw last year that was a nuisance, constantly on base, hit 19 home runs? Could you get the Jorge Polanco that has been an excellent player at times in Minnesota? That would be another one. Just get 1 or 2 of these guys back to being the players they've been. And Polanco has upside, unlike some of the other guys on this team. So am I wild about, do I think it's going to happen? Still probably on the other side of it. I'm still probably betting against him. Would I have benched him the other day? Yes. Am I feeling a little stupid about it today? Yeah, I am. But
I think you should keep doubling down because it seemed to have worked.
Bench him!
Let's put him back.
This guy out of here. He
Bliss. Let's
stinks.
see Bliss.
What a joke. Get Ryan. Thankfully, in the 9th inning, they played Ryan Bliss yesterday at second base, and that's obviously what carried them to victory.
11-0 victory.
Guys had good at-bats, man. I'm not going to I'm just saying what I see, even if it's not what I expected. His at-bats have certainly been a whole lot better.
And this is not an excuse for Polanco. But again, going back to Julio's a human, Polanco's a human. You have 10 years in a clubhouse, 10 years sitting in the same spots, 10 years of teammates, of coaches, of trainers, of whatever. Man. I don't believe that you can just drop him into a new organization and pick up where he left off.
I think you should.
I think you should too. I don't think it's realistic to ask of every player.
That one I struggle with. I can deal with a lot of the excuses made for athletes, especially baseball players. That one's hard for me.
Mm.
Yeah, all right, you're on a new team.
It's a grind.
What can I tell you? Like that.
Take some time.
That's the gig.
You got to find. I get it.
That's
I get
just
it.
the gig. Here's what the Giants general manager said on KMBR. I mentioned some of this to Adnan Virk earlier, but I'll read it again. Speaking of his Giants team, he wrote, hold on, let me get my glasses so I can actually read this stupid thing here. We're 4 games under 500. I got to tell you what Avery told me yesterday.
Is this related?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm in the car with Avery, just me and her. And she says to me, you know what the most common thing Mom says to me is? I'm like, what? She's like, the most common thing Mom says when you're not around is, can you grab me Dad's glasses so I can read this?
And she doesn't want you to know
I
that.
said, really?
Hey.
She said, yeah. I said, so she's having trouble reading small print, and she's using my glasses to read it. And Avery was like, yeah, because she's very innocent. And I was like, oh, she's like, well, don't tell Mom I told you this. I was like, oh, I'm going to tell Mom you told me this. What do you mean? She's like, Dad, you can't. I'm like, my wife, who I love dearly, is trying to make it seem
you're the only one
like I'm the only one getting older in the family who needs these stupid readers. When she needs them too, she's just too embarrassed to get them.
And she, to be fair, she did not tell your daughter, don't tell your dad.
She didn't specifically say that.
Okay, good.
But Avery obviously felt like there was some sort of, confidence being betrayed, like she was telling on Heather.
Mm-hmm.
I think my wife is trying to make me look old and isolate me by making it look like I'm the only one in the family at 46. She's the same age as I am. We graduated college together. Actually, she's 2 months older, but that's just a whole nother thing. Anybody wants to know. She needs these too. She's just too embarrassed to use them. What do you make of this?
Oh, the turntables.
I'm thinking that for Christmas, I'm going to just get her readers.
Well, I don't think I would do that.
Okay.
I don't think that she's already trying to hide this from you, that's going to go over well.
Well,
I think I think you should wait for a funny moment. Maybe not Christmas is the time to have that.
This is our love language, Justin. It's torturing each other in ways like this. Anyway, I don't know how I'm going to handle it yet. I made a comment kind of over her head yesterday, and Avery glared at me. So I don't know exactly.
You know what you should say is, because they're your glasses, right? She doesn't have any in the house anymore.
No. She has
then
glasses.
When you need
Glasses.
them, you should tell Avery, go grab Mom's glasses for me. See if that works.
Heather has real glasses because she wears contacts.
Oh, dang.
Which is a different, which is fine. That's not an age thing.
But that's going to confuse the
reader's thing is all
not gonna
about
work.
the age.
Yeah.
And she needs these, and she's too embarrassed to say so, which I think is very important. All right,
Okay.
let me put them back on and read to you what Giants GM said on KNBR. We're 4 games under 500. Overall, it's been a real disappointment. We pushed a lot of chips in with this team. We need the players to show what the right direction is for us. If we keep playing like we did for the last 5 days, we're going to have to think about selling and seeing some younger players.
Wow, it's pretty transparent.
Pretty similar to some of the stuff we heard from Jerry Dipoto in the past. And in some similar ways, what I saw were some frustration from the fans saying, hey, man, quit blaming the players. You're the ones who brought them in here. And I don't think he's blaming them, just saying, look, the guys have to show me the direction, right? Like, they got to go out and do the job. They have to live up to their career numbers, which they're not doing right now. Okay, well, that's their problem. I don't really care whether or not the Giants are good or not, except that if we're going to talk about a player like Lamont Wade, who Adnan Virk told us was late night Lamont because of his late game heroics, which is just great. If you like Lamont Wade, this is great news because it came with a post I saw referring to San Francisco as having a bottom 10 farm system. That's what you want to find, right? Teams that are potentially going to sell, and in the National League, that's what I'm looking at to see these sort of teams that are in the middle, buyers versus sellers. Are they close or not? And if you are a team who has a great farm system, it's a lot easier to be a buyer than it is if you're a team that's on the border, but also don't have much in the minor leagues, right? This is what I was talking about with Toronto, and I'm going to say it with San Francisco. MLB Pipeline had them at 17 before the season, so I don't know about bottom 10. But, okay, if you're somewhere in that bottom range, it's a little harder to buy. You don't have the prospects to do it. And you may be looking at it and saying, all right, we're below 500. Yeah, we're sort of in it because it's a lousy year. But what is the sustainability of this? Not great. Let's sell and try to get that farm system from 20 to 10. So maybe the Giants do end up becoming an actual trade partner. And that got me kind of looking at the farm system rankings again. You know who's tapped out?
From a farm system standpoint?
Yeah.
Can it be like the Orioles? Or
It's
something?
the Astros.
Oh, the
No,
Astros.
not the Orioles. The Orioles
They're still
are like
sacked
top
up.
3.
The Astros are
the Astros
drained.
are finally drained.
Yeah.
They're finally tapped out. Bottom 5, according to most measurements. Maybe I'm a 27th or 28th, but a bottom 5 group with very few high-impact prospects. So if they want to add, they better be real sure, and they're going to have to be real creative in how they add pieces, which is good news as they sit a couple games behind you. Toronto, who we've been talking about a lot, at least at the beginning of this year, they're 27th. 27th in the big leagues in terms of their prospects. And they really only have a couple of dudes. So as we talk through this Toronto thing, I get where Dan Schulman and Adnan Virk are coming from, that, yeah, they're going to trade the guys who are rentals, the Kikuchis and Yimi Garcia, expiring contract, Danny Jansen, a few others. I do think that they should at least be considering the 2 guys who could actually change the future of their franchise. Because as we said, they're 8 games back, and they have a 27th ranked farm system. What's your plan for turning that into success? I understand Adnan's point that Ross Atkins, who's the GM, maybe you don't trust him to do this deal. Well, then let Mark Shapiro do it, who's the president and his boss, who's been a GM for years and president in Cleveland. Like, I'm sorry, that I didn't want to get into the whole argument, but I don't know. If you have a bad farm system and a bad team, and you have some players that can bring back significant value, I think you probably got to do that.
And you've been the whole time we've been talking about them both happening, right? You don't think one leaves without the other. You think if they're going to sell one,
I think you would sell. If you're going to sell, go sell.
Sell both.
Sell it all and try to change it. By the way, just to some of the other teams, Arizona's kind of in and around where the Mariners are. The Mets have a lot of depth in their system, but not real top end guys, but they are not anywhere near the bottom. And the Rays, another team you're waiting to see if they will sell. They are, of course, 6th in the preseason rankings for MLB Pipeline. Those will change. They do a midseason ranking, which I think will come out here pretty soon. Anyway, point is, some of these teams should be considering not only their chance to make the playoffs, but the likelihood of just getting good soon. And if neither of those things are likely, maybe that's something the Mariners could leverage. It's going to be hard with the Mets, going to be hard with the Diamondbacks, hard with the Rays, but maybe you could do it with the Blue Jays and or with the Giants. By the way, you know who has the worst farm system in baseball? That's right. That would be your Anaheim Angels, and I'm sure that'll get totally fixed when they trade Kevin Pillar here in a couple of weeks. Poor Mike Trout. Coming up next, the most intriguing Seahawks countdown continues. We're on to number 21. It's a big boy who can be a bad man. It's next on Brock and Salk.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
I'm just sort of marveling at the lack of belief in this team. Not that the Seahawks should be considered a top 5 team. I'm not making that case at all, but there seems to be a really dim view of what this team's going to be. First of all, what was their record last year, Bob? They were 9-8 with a bad defense. So we all assume that the defense is going to be at least somewhat improved. How much, we'll find out. And the offense is bringing back almost the same cast. I don't see them getting worse.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
This is a paid political announcement. A Bob for Bob update. Under 12 years of Bob Ferguson as Attorney General and Chief Prosecutor, we in Washington have seen a lot of increases. This, of course, includes a 26% increase in violent crime, 58% increase in homicides, and Washington ranking 4th in the country in stolen vehicles in 2023, behind California, Texas, and Florida. Oh, and according to the FBI, Washington was the 8th most dangerous state between 2020 and 2022. Don't ask for help if you drive a Hyundai or a Kia that's been stolen. What has AG Bob Ferguson done? Bob's been busy planning his governor's campaign and keeping Washington last in the country in law enforcement officers per citizen. As the leader of the Bob for Bob committee, I encourage you to vote Bob if you want more of these crippling policies for Washington, so Bob gets what he's always wanted, governor. Paid for by the Bob for Bob Committee, 1283 Puyallup, Washington, 98371. Top 4 donors, Steve Gordon, Fremont Dock Company, Brian Haywood, and Susie Burke.
The Bite is back. The Bite of Seattle returns to Seattle Center, July 19th through the 21st. Over 250 delicious food and retail vendors, plus games and live music. Admission is free. Enjoy a Seattle summer tradition at the Bite of Seattle with delectable multicultural cuisine, live entertainment, and fun for everyone. Under new management, cash and card payments are accepted by all vendors. Taking over Seattle Center July 19th through the 21st. Come to the Bite, biteofseattle.com.
From whiplash to herniated discs, there are a few car accident injuries we've all heard of. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains that even the most common injuries differ from one another.
Pre-existing conditions, health history, beginning of treatment. There are hundreds of factors that make every person and every injury unique. While these variables aid medical treatment, the strongest case recoveries must also take them into account.
Could you explain a little bit more?
Our team at Pendergast Law is obsessed with turning over every stone to differentiate each case. This requires thorough investigation, diligent listening, and relentless research. We never pursue cases with a one-size-fits-all approach. We built our success by treating every injury and every case with the individualized attention our clients need and deserve.
Pendergast Law's individualized approach to even the most common injuries makes the difference in case outcomes. It's another reason why I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here. Just want to brag, if you don't mind, about my guys for a sec at Riverside Roofing, because they just closed a multi-million-dollar roofing project on the east side, and I'm just incredibly proud. But to be honest, not at all surprised. It speaks to the trust and the reputation that Riverside Roofing's established throughout this market with exceptional work, honesty, and just positive word of mouth. Riverside Roofing can handle any roof, any job. I've seen it with my own two eyes when they worked on my project at my house. Riverside Roofing are also certified Tesla roof installers. So go to riversideroofingllc.com and get a free quick quote on your roofing project within just 60 seconds. Don't wait, because right now is the busy season for roofers, and you're going to want to get your project scheduled while there's still time. Consider Riverside Roofing for your roofing project this summer. They're family owned. They serve all of Western Washington. Ask for a veterans discount as well, and even a referral bonus. Go to riversideroofingllc.com. It's Riverside Roofing, the roofing company you can trust.
Now is your time to get into a new D.R. Horton home by taking advantage of their National Red Tag Savings event going on right now through July 21st. Stop by any of their participating communities and find select Red Tag homes at incredible pricing. So whether you're buying your first home or looking for an upgrade, you don't want to miss the Red Tag Savings event going on right now. Discover the D.R. Horton difference at drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
X marks the spot. Now through September 21st, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for 12 months with a one-year contract for just $15 a month. You can add the new Stream Saver that includes Peacock, Apple TV Plus, and Netflix. That's Xfinity internet and Stream Saver for just $35 a month. All of your favorites, all in one place, only for my friends at Xfinity. So go ahead and binge some shows, stream some movies, and save some money all at the same time. For more watching and less spending, X marks the spot. Switch to Xfinity, the network made for streaming, and bring on the good stuff. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or go visit a local store today. Restrictions do apply. Internet offer requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Equipment taxes and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Currently $54 a month. Actual speeds vary. Stream Saver requires Xfinity Internet or TV, and price subject to change. So make the call to 1-800-XFINITY.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Get his freaking auto!
This is Brock and Salk.
Brock Ewert is my hero.
James Buhner just punched me in the kidney.
On Seattle Sports.
We're going to accuse you on the interview.
That really worked that way, Sherm. This is a show that has my name on it.
It kind of does, though.
Now here are your hosts, Brock Ewert and Mike Salk.
Hello! How many rookie pitchers have ever started the All-Star game?
Rookie pitchers have ever started the All-Star.
I believe it's 4 leading up to today. And Paul Skeens is going to be number 5.
He's doing it good.
He is, yes.
I think it's the same situation as Julio. Then you put him in the Derby. It's like, hey, it's a smaller market. Not a lot of people get to watch Pirates games. This is going to be a great time for the baseball world to see Paul Skeens
Guy's
start.
only been in the major leagues 2 months, and he's going to start the All-Star game. He is ridiculous. He is a budding superstar, and really good news there for Major League Baseball. So cool stuff. He will be intriguing to watch. Speaking of intriguing, as we get ready for the Seahawks training camp and the season, we are counting down the 25 most intriguing Seahawks, all leading up to their first preseason game. We started it on Monday. We got through the first 4, and today we are on to
number 21.
Christian Haynes. Christian Haynes, guard out of UConn. Not exactly a place you turn to for the great guards of the world, but that's where Christian Haynes was. And by all accounts, he stands out because he's a mauler, because he's a bruiser, because he's a big, bad man who plays with a mean streak. He talked about that.
Somebody is going to come off the ball and just dominate the defender in front of him. Somebody is going to be able to, pass block and put people on the ground. Also, just shows how this athletic they are going on to the second level on screens or in different plays and it's destroying defenders, destroying linebackers, destroying DBs, destroying anybody that's in his way. And just trying to be dominant each play.
So you got to love the attitude. You got to love the talk. The tape apparently says a lot of the same stuff, that he is somebody who will be physical, who will have some nastiness, who will want to run the ball and get out ahead of things and knock people over. He's got a great build for a guard with a heavy midsection, so to speak. I don't mean he's a fat guy. I mean he's like an in-shape guy with like a little extra weight right in the middle, which is awesome. He looks like a guard is supposed to look. They also really need to have a good guard, right? I mean, let's be honest. The two biggest position group weaknesses on this team are interior offensive line and linebacker, depending on what you think of the quarterback, right? I mean, they've got some really great talent at wide receiver, 2 second-round picks at running back. Got to like what they've done on the tackle spot, at least if Abraham Lucas is healthy, but they brought in Fant to, kind of help with that. You love the defensive line. Should be it might not be elite, but it's a good group. Safety and corner. I mean, they've got the depth there is incredible. It's linebacker and it's interior offensive line. And offensive line can destroy everything else you want to do offensively. I don't care how smart Grubb is. If you don't have the time to do it, it doesn't matter. It will ruin everything. If the holes aren't there, if the protection doesn't hold up, everything else is meaningless. And they drafted him as their top offensive lineman this year, looking to replace a guy that left last year, that Damian Lewis had some issues, but got paid a tremendous amount of money to go somewhere else and be a stud there. So is this guy going to be able to take over at some point and actually show that he's better than Anthony Bradford? Well, right now, he's having trouble getting on the field ahead of a guy named McClendon Curtis, who virtually no one has heard about. Mike McDonald was asked why McClendon Curtis was getting more run.
Well, I mean, he knows multiple spots, so if you know what to do, then it's easy to move you around. But, yeah, I think the whole offensive line is – it's always one big puzzle piece, right? You're always trying to find the best 5 and then the backup plan if someone can't go, and making sure you have enough depth so you're not, looking in the middle of the season and you have really no options. So, but he's doing a great job. He's had a great offseason.
Okay. The one thing I hear there, because I believe the question was, why McClendon Curtis with the ones over Christian Haynes? And the first part of the answer there, I haven't learned yet to decode Mike McDonald's, but it sounded like, well, this one guy knows the plays. Right?
Yeah.
This guy's been here and he knows it.
We know what school he went to?
McClendon Curtis?
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. I will admit
just
to not
always
knowing.
the way you cringed kind of the UConn thing. I'm wondering if that part of it is like how complicated was he running?
I just look, does he know the plays? I don't know. That sort of jumps out to me from Mike McDonald's answer. Now, on the other hand, what is Christian Haynes' game? It's supposed to be all about being physical. So
he's doing some good things. I mean, I think Christian's game is when pads are on, when he's moving people and can get into the next level, things like that. So right now, I wouldn't say it's hard to feel the offensive line, pushing the pile or moving the line of scrimmage. So I think that's more his game. So hopefully we see that when pads come on. Come camp time.
Yeah, so I'm not going to freak out about the fact that McClendon Curtis has been getting those reps, even if it is taking Christian Haynes a little bit longer to learn, and I don't know if that's the case, but I'm just trying to read between the lines. His game should start to show up once the pads come on. He's a physical dude, and he plays a position that they really need to hit on. It's been, other than the 2 tackles, it's really been a while since the Seahawks have hit on offensive linemen. We know about all the problems they've had at center. Damian Lewis, yes, he got paid elsewhere, but I don't think anybody wanted him back here. Anthony Bradford had his moments last year, but a lot of those moments were overshadowed by some really bad ones. They could really use a hit. and maybe Christian Haynes is going to be that guy. So he is the number 21 most intriguing Seahawk heading into this season.
Man,
what'd you think of the first five?
Well, we've given you a lot of grief for not having a long snapper, but
right.
It's good. No, it's good. A lot of these are players.
Can you name all five? Can you name the first five?
Tyrese Knight
was number 25.
Charbonnet
was number 24.
Dodson and Baker
were tied for number 23.
Yesterday was
number 22 in your program. Number 22 on the list. Trey Brown. There you go.
There we go.
Nice job.
Got it. Thank you.
This was a running bit one year. I tried to do it all the way from 25 to 1. It was hard.
Well, it is helpful, though, for people who aren't diving really hard into every name and the whole roster. And these, you're saying, you framed it well. These aren't the best players. These are most intriguing.
And this guy's intriguing because of the
them.
physicality.
Yes.
Straight up. Because he plays a position of need and because of the physicality. Mm-hmm. And because they opted not to trade up or anything. Like, this is the guy that they ended up with. I don't know if he's the guy that was like their number one at that position. But he was the guy that was there, and it's a position of great need for this team. All right, good stuff. Next week, we will do numbers 20 through 16 as this continues all the way up to the first Seahawks preseason game. All right. Man, we don't have a lot of time left in this week, huh? We're going to open up the phone lines at 9:30. So whatever you guys have on your mind. It's been an interesting week or two of baseball for sure. We're getting ready for the trade deadline after the All-Star break. So a lot of baseball conversation. If you do want to talk some football, we're up for that. We've had a new coach speak now about Kraken. We have more news on the NBA and its approach. We've got the ESPYs and the rise of women's sports. Like, there's a lot going on. So start thinking about it. And if you want to start hitting the phones early, 866-979-3776. We'll start taking calls in 20 after everything you need to know next.
Get the national perspective on the Mariners.
Swing and a miss and a slider, strike three.
With Jeff Passan, Tuesday mornings at 8:30.
The Mariners have arguably the best pitching staff in baseball. I think I'm probably taking the Mariners at the end of the day over every team in the American League right now.
And John Marucci, Thursdays at 5 p.m.
This is the team to beat in the division. And it's not just a hot take. That's what the numbers say, that they're the team to beat in the division.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here. It is definitely summer, beautiful weather, and you look at that 10-day forecast, every day looks better and better and better. Just awesome. You got plans, you got vacations, you got road trips, you got any fun summer stuff to do. You don't want to be limited by how you look or how you feel. No, that's why I went on the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic plan and lost 35 pounds. The results were awesome. Could be happier with how my life and how my energy just improved. I want the same thing for you, and Eastside Weight Loss Clinic does as well. They're looking for 710 listeners so they can help out. Here's the ask. Schedule a 15-minute, no-obligation consultation at EastsideWeightLossClinic.com. It's safe, it's healthy, it's sustainable weight loss. You do it without pills, without any injections, without any surgery. You're just eating real food, nothing prepackaged, and you will lose weight. I promise. Look and feel your very best. That feeling can be yours this summer. The secret? You got to call Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. 425-588-0080 is their phone number, or you can just go online to EastsideWeightLossClinic.com. That's EastsideWeightLossClinic.com. Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
Lexus is electrified, and the first ever RZ450E has the performance and range to get you where you need to go. With the exclusive Lexus Direct 4 all-wheel drive technology, Lexus of Bellevue has over 50 RZs available for immediate delivery with electrifying savings. Up to $18,500 lease cash on every RZ450E. Visit LexusofBellevue.com.
On approval of credit through LFS. Lease cash from Lexus available on select 2024 RZ styles. Must take delivery by July 31st, 2024. A documentary service fee up to $200 may be added to the purchase price or capitalized costs. See dealership for details.
It's better over here. If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has an exclusive rate plan just for you. Right now, get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings versus Verizon and AT&T. Plus, you can get one of the latest 5G phones free when you add a line. That's right, a free 5G phone. Experience all this and more on America's largest 5G network. So why wait? At T-Mobile, customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Just go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 or visit your local store to make the switch.
With AutoPay using debit or bank account plus taxes and fees, 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Free phones up to $300 off with 24 monthly bill credits and qualifying new line for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Contact us before canceling entire account to continue remaining bill credits. Bill credits end if you pay off device early. See details T-Mobile.com.
At Shane Company, we'll help you design an engagement ring as unique as your love story. We have the widest selection of diamonds and gemstones for you to choose from, and you can compare them side by side right here in our store. Only at Shane Company can you sift through exquisite diamonds, rubies, and a rainbow of sapphires in a variety of shapes and sizes. We'll help you create your dream engagement ring no matter your price range. Choose the ring setting that speaks to your style, from classic to modern to vintage. We offer so many ways to personalize your ring. Pick your favorite center stone, add a decorative crown and a custom engraving, or select a perfectly preset ring that's ready to go. At Shane Company, our jewelers know how much your ring means to you. They hand-set each center stone with precision and pride in our jeweler's workshop, so you can feel confident knowing your ring is crafted with the greatest care and comes with an unmatched free lifetime warranty that lets you know we'll always be here for you. Your love story deserves to shine bright. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Headed outdoors or on the water this weekend? Check in with Joey and Nelly on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on SeattleSports.com.
Do you have a musty, damp, or wet basement? As the soil around your home becomes saturated, pressure pushes water through the tiniest of cracks and joints in your walls and floor. Moisture and water can not only damage your basement with mold and musty odors, it can also impact the health of your family. Matt Vey can install a custom-designed waterproofing system, transforming your basement into dry, healthy, usable space.
Do it the right way, the Matt Vey way. Rock built, rock solid.
Transform your outdoor space with Synthetic Turf Northwest, the Northwest's leader in synthetic turf solutions for 28 years, serving Seattle, Tacoma, and Bellevue. Specializing in residential backyard golf greens, custom play areas, and pet-friendly systems, we create stunning, low-maintenance landscapes for every need. Our artificial grass systems offer unmatched durability and beauty tailored to your lifestyle. Plus, ask about our 18-month no-interest financing. SyntheticTurfNorthwest.com, 425-788-0718. Synthetic Turf Northwest, where expertise meets excellence.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Simply Seattle, presenting sponsor of the Brock and Salk Show and your one-stop shop for all things Seattle sports, wants to get you fitted. Gear up for the summer with apparel from your favorite Seattle sports teams. Want to see it and try it on in person? Be sure to visit the shop on First and Pine by the Market and see what they have in stock in their store. Everyone is shopping at Simply Seattle. Use code SeattleSports15 for 15% off every order. SimplySeattle.com.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
Nice to see the Mariners doing damage against a very, very bad starting pitcher last night. It doesn't take away from what they did. It's great. You want to score 11 runs when you see pitching like they did last night, but I don't know whether it necessarily tells us a whole lot about what this offense is on a day-to-day basis. It certainly doesn't overshadow some of the problems we've seen, but that doesn't mean there wasn't a lot of fun. Cal Raleigh going yard from each side of the plate. That's always fun.
Here's the pitch to him. Swung on, blasted, left field. Has he done it again? He has! It's gone! Cal Raleigh, both sides of the plate again. The second time this year, the third time in his career. Cal Raleigh, 3-run blast.
Pretty darn cool. Guy has hit home runs from both sides of the plate in 2 out of 3 games. That's pretty remarkable. You don't see that a lot. Pretty amazing for Cal. And by the way, both of those left the bat with an over 113-mile-an-hour exit velocity. They were both torched. My favorite moment of the game, though, was early, and Cal featured in it at least a little bit.
Runners get their leads. Now the stretch in the 0-2 pitch. Swinging a chopper to third. Behind the bag goes Guillorme. He's got it. Steps on third for one. The high throw to first over the head of Shanuel down the right field line. Raleigh will score. Rodriguez is forced out at third. Around at third goes Luke Raley. Ty France winds up on at second. The ball down the right field line. The throw comes in. They get the out at third on Rodriguez. Luis Guillorme getting to the high chopper behind the bag. Went to third for the out on Julio. But Betancourt, a high throw over the head of first baseman Nolan Chanuel, and another run scores, and the Mariners have a 2-0 lead.
There are only so many opportunities to use the word uncorked, and that is definitely one of them when you throw high and wide to first base. But honestly, in this case, it was so high and wide. That's one of the worst throws I've ever seen a major leaguer make. That's not a pitcher. I mean, pitchers, they don't count.
Really inexcusable. You stood on third base and threw to first base.
Pitchers throw the ball, nowhere near the intended target often when they're trying to get it to first base or second or whatever. That guy's a professional third baseman. He stepped on the bag and then took aim at the upper deck. What a terrible throw. And from then on, the joke show started. Luis Castillo was the great beneficiary of it. He just got to be in cruise control, goes 6 innings, no runs, 6 strikeouts, goes the rest of the night, takes it off. Only had to throw 86 pitches, which were all stress-free. Just a perfect way to go into the break. It was nice to see. You know who else had a nice game was J.P. Crawford. His manager liked it.
He's going to give you a really competitive bat no matter who's out there. He has a tendency of playing really good in this ballpark. He's got a lot of family here all the time. He's fired up to play and brought a ton of energy tonight, and we need it. Like I said, we really want to focus on finishing strong going into the break. That's really important.
All good news last night, except for the Astros winning. So that lead does remain at 2 games. It just seems like every night the Mariners win, the Astros win. Every time the Mariners lose, the Astros lose. I think it's been that way for 8 straight days now, so over a week. They'll get back to it with the Angels tonight. Brian Wu to make his return against former Mariner Tyler Anderson, who's actually been really good for Anaheim this year. And Texas and Houston will play each other for 3 games leading into the break.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
I should also point out the news coming out this morning that Paul Skeens is going to start the All-Star game for the National League, as he should. He's a great story. He is exactly the type of player that baseball needs to be promoting. And the fact that he's in this relationship with Olivia Dunn, and that's a whole thing as well, great. I love it. Baseball, football has that. Basketball has that. Even hockey has had some of that. Why shouldn't baseball have more of that? And if it brings a couple of Instagram folks to the table, even better. Whatever you can do to expose that game to more young people, I'm into it. On a hockey side of things, since I just mentioned hockey, Dan Bilesma on the station yesterday with Bump and Stacy, and I loved a lot of what I heard, talking about how he wants this team to be fast. Fast hockey is winning hockey, he said, and he wants them to play more north-south. He also wants to see more from Shane Wright, who he's had in the minors the last couple of years.
Just really getting to see him play, getting to go to work every day and trying to become a pro. I think when it gets lost a little bit, we're drafting 18-year-old kids, young men, and there's a lot of development and a lot of process that has to go through for the player to get to be where he's at his best. And I think the first year we saw a lot of signs of that, the expectations of the draft and going forth and then coming to camp. You got to remember he's just an 18-year-old. You got to look back to when you were 18 years old and see where you were at that time, both physically and mentally. And
yeah, once again, no thank you. Not a great physical specimen, not a great mental specimen. We'll just move it right past.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
So you don't think Russell was kind of embarrassed last night as his wife was part of the ESPYs and he wasn't? She's not even in sports. He used to be on a Hall of Fame trajectory, and now he's not even part of the ESPYs. He's on his 3rd team in 4 years. Anyway, I do enjoy the ESPYs. I enjoyed them again last night. No, not for the awards, but I do like some of the speeches, and I thought that the more meaningful stuff was great last night. I really enjoyed the Prince Harry stuff and the Invictus Games, which I did not know much about at all, but tremendous organization working with veterans, wounded veterans to play Olympic-style sports. I thought that was awesome. And then Dawn Staley was incredible as well. I thought she gave a tremendous message.
She's one of the 13 pair of eyes that every single little thing I do every day and make sure to comment on. That's my team. If they can stand up and just be recognized. How do I not fight injustice when I ask them to do the things the right way? How do I not fight for fairness when I ask them not to cheat themselves, not to cut corners? How do I not fight for equity when I tell them they can climb as high as they want? How do I not fight pay disparity when I do the same job and get paid less but win more? I can't ask them to stand up for themselves if I'm sitting down.
I can't ask them to stand up for themselves if I'm sitting down. What a great line. And it came as part of a tremendous speech from Don Staley, who really stood out yesterday. The Steve Gleason moment was great. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really cool event last night. And that is everything you need to know.
It's weird that I only really consume that stuff on social media these days. Also, there's the Mariners game is going on, so I'm just not able to flip back and forth, and I'm not going to watch on more than one device.
I turned the Mariners off last night.
After what?
I mean, it was like, well, I think it was around 8 when the ESPYs started. The Mariners game was already basically over. It was 8-0 or whatever it was at that point. I was like, I feel like this is pretty safe.
Yeah,
and I flipped over. I watched the whole thing with my family because my family will actually watch
totally
the
different.
ESPYs.
That's totally different for me. Yeah. See, I was going to say, I don't get. As a Mariners fan, I don't feel like I get enough of those games where I'm like, it's cruise control. Let's just enjoy this.
Yeah.
Let's sit back in the hot tub and put our feet up and enjoy this one. So I couldn't turn it off.
You know what's weird about watching this? It's watching something on ABC. Other than sports, I don't watch anything on the networks. There's not one show I watch on any of the 4 networks.
Yeah.
Not just that, but the promos and stuff. You're just like, what is this garbage? I mean, this was on ABC. Their promos aren't as bad as the ones on CBS. As far as I can tell, CBS has the worst programming imaginable on its network every night.
Same 4 shows.
I can't fathom how CBS is like, how people watch that.
Which is weird because you are in the target demo for both of those channels.
Am I 150 years old?
No, they're going men 35, 55.
They are?
Like that. They have to be.
CBS?
Or are you saying that they're targeted to like tweens that you just can't relate to?
No, I think CBS is targeting people that are 70 plus. When I look at the CBS stuff like NCIS and Chicago Fire, Hope, whatever, like that's for people.
Sure.
That's for people in their 70s.
They just punted. They know all the young people are on the streaming services.
Yes.
And they're like, whatever.
Because CBS looks old. Even like their color looks old.
The jackets that they wear.
Everything about CBS feels old. When honestly, even just the way like the brightness level of that network has always looked old, like my entire life.
Yeah, what's old is new. It'll be cool.
ABC always looks young. Fox always looks vibrant. NBC kind of is in between. But CBS always just looks old to me. The color, the way it's presented, all of it. All right. Tell you what, let's stop talking and turn it over to you guys. It's time for the bullpen. As I said, we only really do a few days of work here. It's time for you guys to do some work. I've been doing it all week. Okay, I've been working hard, slaving over this microphone, trying to bring you guys something, and now I just need a break. I need you guys to do your job. Show up with something to say. 866-979-3776 is the phone number. Open phones. Mariners trade deadline, playing better, Julio, your thoughts, Polanco, Scott, Jerry, you name it. 866-979-3776. Certainly ESPYs or basketball or, Seahawks and what else they need. Whatever you want, whatever's on your mind. I know you guys have things on your mind, and I know you get mad because I don't talk about it. So here's your chance. 866-979-3776. You're next on Seattle Sports.
Seattle Sports, your home for Bump and Stacy.
Joel in Tacoma says, what's more stressful to watch, the Seahawks in the fourth quarter or the Mariners in 7, 8, and 9?
Weekdays 10 to 2.
Mariners all day. Mariners all day. They have shown they're capable of being in any type of game. I think we're slowly starting to figure out that they're capable of throwing hands with the best and keeping them in the game. The next step will be for them just to dominate the weaker teams.
Don't miss an hour of the show. Find the podcast at seattlesports.com.
Hey, Brock Heward here, along with IRG Physical and Hand Therapy President and CEO, Shannon O'Kelly. Now, Shannon, I need to ask you if what I've been hearing is true. You don't need a referral, really, to see a physical therapist in the state of Washington?
That's exactly right, Brock. The state of Washington is a state that has what's called direct access. That means that if you get up in the morning, for example, and you hurt your back or did something to your muscles or tendons or joints, you can call a physical therapist directly, and we can get you in that same day and start your care and your recovery process.
How can patients get scheduled with IRG?
Oh, it's easy. You just contact us at irgpt.com. We'll direct you to our concierge service, and we'll take care of all that for you. We handle all the authorization, verification. We want our patients to understand their insurance benefits and what the outcomes are going to be with their visit to IRG Physical and Hand Therapy.
Please, please, please don't let injuries keep you from your passion. Schedule online today at irgpt.com and start the journey back to your best self.
When you buy tires at Les Schwab, you're getting more than just tires. You're getting America's best tire warranty, 60-day satisfaction guarantee, no hassle road hazard protection, and free maintenance for the life of your tires. Other places make you pay extra for that. But at Les Schwab, it's included with every set of tires because more warranty means less worry, and nobody stands by their tires like Les Schwab. Get more from Les. Book your appointment at leschwab.com. Terms and conditions apply. See leschwab.com for details.
Kick off summer by checking out the incredible showroom at Toyota of Kirkland. With a wide selection of Camrys on the lot, including the brand new 2025 Hybrid Camry, along with the new inventory of Tundras and Tacomas. All with a lifetime powertrain warranty, you're in for a summer to remember. The unbeatable team at Toyota of Kirkland will set up your test drive, and you can take that car home the same day. Get your summer groove on at Toyota of Kirkland or visit online at toyotaofkirkland.com.
There's an old saying that a house is not a home, but the Mariners house, T-Mobile Park, is home to an awful lot. Home to plays you can't believe.
Right shot, diving catch. Holy smokes, what a play by Crawford.
Home to 6-foot salmon that don't swim, they sprint. And even home to hot dogs that fall from heaven. Hallelujah.
Everybody likes free food just falling from the sky.
Oh, yeah. And it's also home to 47,000 screaming faithful night after night.
We have a sellout crowd. I mean, the folks are up there in the rafters.
T-Mobile Park is our house. Mariners fans make it our home. Mariners baseball. Trident's up.
The Mariners get the second half of the season underway at T-Mobile Park with back-to-back AL West showdowns. Don't miss the action as Cal and the crew square off against the Astros Friday, July 19th to Sunday, July 21st, and the Angels Monday, July 22nd to Wednesday, July 24th. Lock in your seats for both of these divisional matchups today at mariners.com.
Do you know a woman who gives her all to the sports community, encourages diversity, and empowers those around her? Stacey Rost here. Seattle Sports is once again partnering with the Seattle chapter of WISE, which stands for Women in Sports and Events. We want to recognize a woman in our community, and we need your help finding her. Nominations for the 3rd Annual Women of Inspiration Award are open until July 12th. The winner will receive a donation to the cause of their choice. Nominate an inspiring woman at woiseattle.org.
This is a paid political announcement. A Bob for Bob update. Under 12 years of Bob Ferguson as Attorney General and Chief Prosecutor, we in Washington have seen a lot of increases. This, of course, includes a 26% increase in violent crime, 58% increase in homicides, and Washington ranking 4th in the country in stolen vehicles in 2023, behind California, Texas, and Florida. Oh, and according to the FBI, Washington was the 8th most dangerous state between 2020 and 2022. Don't ask for help if you drive a Hyundai or a Kia that's been stolen. What has AG Bob Ferguson done? Bob's been busy planning his governor's campaign and keeping Washington last in the country in law enforcement officers per citizen. As the leader of the Bob for Bob committee, I encourage you to vote Bob if you want more of these crippling policies for Washington, so Bob gets what he's always wanted, governor. Paid for by the Bob for Bob Committee, 1283 Puyallup, Washington, 98371. Top 4 donors, Steve Gordon, Fremont Dock Company, Brian Haywood, and Susie Burke.
It's Extreme at Emerald Queen Casino Event Center, Saturday, September 7th. With special guest, Living Color. From burning hard rock to introspective ballads. Don't miss Extreme with special guest Living Color, September 7th at Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. 21 and older, need gambling help, call 800-547-6133 or visit emeraldqueen.com.
Hey, Bob Stelton here, and have you heard that metal roofs are all the rage? A metal roof lasts longer, it's more eco-friendly, and is a great option for adding solar panels. Asset Roofing is leading the local push in metal roofing, and they can even offer metal roofs for up to 30% less than their competitors. You're either hiring a liability or you're hiring an asset. Head to AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
This is Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
All right, let's dig into your calls today. Looks like we got all these lines full, which is awesome. Keep trying if you're hoping to get in. 866-979-3776. And looks like a couple of different topics as well. We'll start Mariners with Brian in Puyallup. Good morning to you, Brian.
Good morning, Mike. Longtime fan and listener.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, I just the point I want to make is that I'm a big fan of Jerry. I think he's done a great job top to bottom, so don't get me wrong on that before I say this. I think that they built the team wrong for the ballpark.
How so?
If you're going into a ballpark that is not a hitter's park, you need hitters. You don't necessarily need pitchers as much. The other teams need hitters. The ballpark already plays good defense for you. When you see it, when we go to Anaheim, that's a hitter's park. All these balls that have been outs in Seattle are home runs and doubles in Anaheim, and our pitchers still shut the other team out. We needed to build more bats, and fall. I mean, you need both, obviously. Don't get me wrong, but the philosophy of having a strong defense to back up your strong defensive ballpark.
I don't know, man. I think we've seen some of this. So I appreciate the call. It's an interesting theory, Brian. I'm not going to dismiss it out of hand. I don't think I agree with you, but I think I like the theory. I don't know whether a couple games in Anaheim against minor league pitching is necessarily the best example of one way versus the other. But I appreciate your point.
That's fair.
I appreciate the point.
Okay.
They tried this. Jack Zarensik did this 1 or 2 years. He had a team or two, and I'm blanking on the exact year, that could really hit the ball. And they had a bunch of guys clubbing home runs, but they didn't have any pitching. And I do still think that pitching matters no matter what. It's always the most important thing, whether you play in this ballpark or not. They have at times experimented with the idea of looking for guys who are fly ball pitchers, hoping that they could max that would be a value play, that a fly ball at T-Mobile would be less likely to leave the park than it would somewhere else. Yeah, I think there's something to that. I think what they've ultimately done, though, is found guys that are high strikeout pitchers, and with the idea that a lot of high strikeout pitchers get beat by home run balls. Right? If you're going to beat Justin Verlander, you probably got to hit a home run off of him. Mm-hmm. And so that's sort of what they've done. And then you hope that the ballpark suppresses some of those home runs. Is it working? I don't know. They're in first place, so it's pretty hard to argue. But obviously the hitting can't be this bad. And I think that's all it is. I think you can build a team with great pitching and the hitting maybe weaker than that, but it can't be last in the league. You can't be bottom 5. You need to be better than that. 866-979-3776. Try Levi in Tacoma. What's up, Levi? Good morning.
Hey, I want to talk about the Seahawks for this upcoming season.
Sure.
In my opinion, I think two of the most important players for us this year is Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet. The last time we had a top 10 rushing offense was in 2019. And you look at Mike McDonald's previous teams, of course, the Ravens and Michigan, they were most known for ground and pound football. So I think if we definitely establish the running games this upcoming season, I think that's a good way for us to have a successful season.
I love the idea of ground and pound, but I don't know whether I'm going to buy that the two running backs are going to be the key to that. I don't care how good your running backs are. If the interior offensive line can't open up holes for them, unless you have Barry Sanders, it doesn't matter much. So I think I agree with the overall premise. They do still need to be able to run the ball. It's been the problem for ages. But I don't think that's been because of the running backs. I think it's been because of the offensive line. Now, maybe changing up schemes is going to help. Maybe this Grubb and Huff combination is going to help. But you still got some pretty big holes in the inside of that offensive line. And unless that is better than it looks on paper, which it could be, absolutely, then I don't care what you get out of K9 and Charbonnet. It's not going to matter because the holes aren't going to be there. But I love the idea. And even with a new system, even if they're going to be in more 3 wide receiver sets, you still got to run the ball. You still got to take pressure off your quarterback. You still do need to ground and pound at times. So,
where do you think the running back group ranks in the NFC West? That's my favorite thing to do is compare it to the division before I think through the rest of the league. I think it's an easier microcosm.
Yeah, I mean, they're not first,
clearly,
right? I mean, obviously McCaffrey's going to be one. They're probably, the other three are all probably similar, right? Maybe you're a little ahead. It's just so hard to judge because of the offensive line differences.
Totally.
It's such a dependent position that it's really hard for me to judge unless you're superlative in one direction or the other, which I don't think they are. I think they're good, but I don't think they're superlative in one direction or the other. 866-979-3776. Open lines here for about 10 more minutes. We got Cameron in San Jose. What's up, Cameron? Good morning.
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Great. What's up?
Yeah, I just have kind of come to the conclusion that based off what we know about the moves they made in the offseason and kind of the RSN issues, I think they've really, really have got to go for broke at the deadline. I think they've got a target going really heavy for the next 2 or 3 years. I think they should move people like Harry Ford, Colt Emerson, Cole Young, maybe Celestine, because I don't think there's a realistic option for them to re-sign all the people at the current core. And even if they were able to, a lot of them are pitchers, which we know as they get older and the more pitches they throw, the more likely they are to get hurt. And so I just think if you play this forward the next 3 or 4 years, you're going to have a bunch of hitters and we're not going to have a lot of pitchers and you're going to be in the same situation. So I think they should really go for it. I think they should try and get Vlad Jr. I think it would be awesome if they put together a package for maybe like Kikuchi, Bichette, and Guerrero, and maybe move Miller or Hancock and a bunch of these prospects and really go for it. Because I think
you
now
start doing all that, you're essentially changing up your whole team. I'm with you other than some of the specific names, but it's an interesting point, Cameron, and it's well thought out. It goes against some of their philosophy, right? I mean, the one thing we've heard about these Mariners, and it gets misinterpreted, but the Jerry DiPoto philosophy, when he made his comment last year about 54%, it wasn't, as we now know, hey, I only want to win 54% of the games. What he was trying to express was an idea that when you make the playoffs in baseball, it becomes a crapshoot. Because the sample size, as you know, is so small that even the best teams, even the ones that have gone for broke, sometimes it doesn't work out because of the ups and downs and sort of bad luck and good luck of baseball. So the idea behind it is you give yourself as many bites at the apple as you can. And I think if Jerry were here arguing with you instead of me, what he would say is, I love the passion, I love the idea, but because this game is so up and down, we would want to keep a bunch of those guys in the minor leagues to give us different bites at the apple when they're ready. No, it might not be Celestine with George Kirby and Cal Raleigh, that there might be two different versions of it, but that's another good version that will give it a go, and it's not worth giving up on that kind of talent.
I think I agree with that approach if you're assuming that the salary situation stays the same as it has been. And everything that I've sort of read or has sort of been alleged from the reporting from people inside a lot of these teams is that that's not going to be the case. So if the gap is going to continue to grow or get worse between someone like the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Pirates and the Diamondbacks and the Rockies, then I don't know how you would look at that and say, hey, we're going to play this out 5 years, but you know, the top 5 teams are going to be able to spend 150% instead of 120% as they do right now.
Yeah, it makes sense. I love it's a good point. I think what they again, the response would be, yeah, and that's why we would want a bunch of young people coming up, not making any money, that are great players. That spending a ton of money works when you're the Phillies. They've done it really well. It doesn't work when you're the Mets, who've done it really poorly. It's so funny, this money thing. And money is great. It's great to spend money in sports. I want the Mariners to spend more of it. I don't think they've spent enough, and I think they should spend more. But it is also funny how it gets misconstrued at times. I was talking to somebody the other day. Oh, I'm going to throw him under the bus, my barber. I was talking to my barber the other day. Totally going to throw him under the bus because he listens sometimes.
Ah, sweet.
And it was right after Katie Griggs had left to go to the Orioles. And he's like, oh, I saw Katie Griggs left for the Orioles. We're talking about it. He's like, well, I'm sure she was excited to go spend all that money that they've got there. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, they have much bigger payroll than they do here. No, they don't.
Significantly
lower.
One of the bottom of the
Well, but they're one of the best teams in the league. Yeah.
Yeah, young talent.
Yeah, lots of young talent. Kept it all together, traded for a lot of young players, brought them all up. A couple other trades.
They
don't
hit
spend
on
any money.
several.
Yeah, hit on a bunch of them.
Yeah.
They don't spend any money. Bottom 5 in the league. He was shocked, mouth agape. That's why I got such a bad haircut. No, I'm just kidding. He does a great job. Love the guy. 2.5 barbers. Nice job. Okay, 866-979-3776. Let's see. Let's try JP in Montana, Justin.
Yes, right.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Great.
Hey, I'm curious why you think that Polo's continuing to get play time over Bliss, even though Bliss pretty much proved that he, at least defensively, should be on the team most days. And second part to that question is, do we need both those players at the deadline, and could we trade one of them for something?
Both players meaning Bliss and Polanco?
Yes.
Yeah, good questions. All right, so I tried to address the Polanco thing earlier this week because, as I told you, JP and everybody else, I would have benched him heading into the series in San Diego. I would have sat him for the last 6 games and just tried something else just to get a little bit more energy out there than he was playing with. But I didn't. I didn't get my way. As it turns out, I'm not the manager of this team. Scott is. And he stuck with him. Why? I think just because of the upside. Because what Polanco has been at his best in his career is better than what Ryan Bliss is right now. The at-bats from Bliss, yes, there's excitement. Yes, there's good defense. Yes, there's great energy. But there's also at times just being completely overmatched in a way that you shouldn't expect with someone like Polanco and his veteran experience. So we stuck with him, and it's paid off. He's actually had, seriously, his 3 best games that he's had in a Mariner uniform have all come in a row. His 3 best games as a Mariner have all come in the last 3 games. That's crazy. And maybe it's a positive sign of things to come. I don't know yet. We'll find out over time. 2 of those pitchers were complete garbage, and it's making it hard to really judge what we're really seeing here.
Right, especially with 70 games.
In terms of deals at the deadline, I don't think you're trading Polanco at the deadline. I'm sure they would if they could, but I don't think that anybody is looking to add Jorge Polanco this year at the deadline. Bliss, yeah, he could be part of a package. Sure, of course. He could definitely be part of a package to bring somebody back that you like. He's shown something at the major leagues. If somebody else loves him, yeah.
Somebody
Absolutely.
brought this up to me recently. We were talking to Mariners with I think it's my Mariners group chat, saying, didn't Jerry really love Bliss? And wasn't that a big part of why they went after that package? And he's like, I'm not doing it if Bliss isn't involved.
They held up, the story we've heard is they held up the deal until they could get, oh no, that was Rojas.
That was Rojas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yes,
so I was
they
like,
wanted Bliss
they
as
did
well.
really want Bliss, right?
Yes.
Like that was a big, okay.
Yep.
He wasn't just a
wanted all
throw-in
3
that they
of
got
those
lucky
guys.
on. Yeah.
No, they wanted all 3 of them. You want to take one more call? We'll take one more. Let's try Sam in Chino. What's up, Sam?
What's going on?
How's
guys?
the smell in
you guys
Chino
going?
today? Is the smell okay?
You know what, man? I'm actually working in Palmdale today, so I didn't even get to smell Chino this morning.
Good. Because Chino, when it
Palmdale
doesn't
is
smell good, it
terrible.
does not smell good.
You learn to love it.
I don't know. I lived out there for 4 years. I never learned to love the smell of Chino.
Yeah, I remember you telling me. I called the show many a time.
What's up? What do you got today?
So here's my thing, guys. Is any free agent we bring in or any trade we make, they always struggle. I mean, everybody we bring in. We brought in Sean Figgins. He was supposed to be this big name, freaking all-world freaking third baseman. He freaking sucked, right? Seattle Mariners. Then you bring in Teoscar Hernandez. He sucked. But what happened, like, around this time, towards the end of the year, Teoscar took off, became a great player again. Then he goes to L.A. Everybody in the offseason talking about don't pay Teoscar. And he goes to L.A., gets a little money. I get it. The lineup's different, all these different things. But who's to say he wasn't going to turn back into that all-star player, right? And he goes over there and he dominates. Polanco, he's struggling, yes. But you look at him last year, I get the strikeouts are high, but he still was a great player. When we got him, people were excited. Home run signing, I heard people say on this show. Not this show, but on 710. Home run signing. This is a great signing. This is exactly what the Mariners needed. They needed this guy. He's a second baseman. He's going to be an everyday player.
So let me see if I understand what you're saying. Just because we got to run here in a minute. What you're saying is you got to be patient a little longer because guys struggle when they first come here?
Yes. So I believe when Teoscar was struggling, you weren't happy with him in Seattle either, right? It was kind of like the Polanco situation.
No, I kind of like Teoscar. I kind of like Teoscar. I was kind of always on the Teoscar bandwagon, but that's all right. Lots of other people were not, so you're not like out of bounds or anything. I always kind of liked Teoscar and just didn't want to see him in right field as much. Kind of wanted him to DH. And, yeah, I wouldn't have even minded if he'd been back here this year. But didn't work out that way. Okay.
They brought it. You asked.
Those were great.
Great calls.
Great phone calls today. Nice job, everybody. Even
Carry the water.
Everyone's in good moods. The heat, the summer, everything is wonderful. A perfect lead into a Mora-free ranked.
Got a list? Time to put it in order.
Fred Dwumfor's house. Top five meals that I have ever had.
This is Ranked.
To be honest, that list was really biased.
Every morning at 9:45 on Brock and Salk.
Top 10 list. I'm not buying it.
Ranked.
I think Moore wouldn't even mind today's ranked because there aren't that many. There aren't that many honorable
absurdities
mentions.
or out of bounds.
No,
things?
there's
Wow.
really almost none of that. It's kind of a bummer.
What are we ranked?
It's kind of pretty straightforward. We're just ranking heat.
Heat
for the great weather we're having.
Bring the heat.
Heat ranked. Yeah.
Easy.
That high heat from the hill. Wasn't that Gary Hill's podcast? Or maybe that was his Twitter handle.
I remember High Heat being a podcast.
High Heat from the hill. You got former Seahawk Dave the Heater Hawthorne. You got former NHL player and star Danny Heatley.
Well, why the heater? Do we know why he's the heater?
No.
Okay.
Don't ask these questions.
Just maybe there was some great story behind it that you were going to tell.
I don't know. He's a heat seeker or something.
Cool.
That's Diamond Head.
Man.
Heat of the night. Not the best Diamond Head song.
Yeah, it's like that's not their best.
Man, you listen to Diamond Head and you will just hear how Megadeth got going. Metallica too.
Yeah, everybody loved Diamond Head. They've covered them.
Yeah. Let's see. We got Glass Animals, Heat Wave. I like this song.
How do I not really know where this came from? Is this recent?
Yeah. You didn't play this on Moving?
No, we didn't.
Yes, you did.
I don't think we did.
Maybe you were gone. It might have come after you were there.
That one.
That's like a Moving specialty right
I
there.
remember Glass Animals. I remember that song.
That's Moving all day.
Yeah, if it's not Rihanna, it's not moving. That was so I used to joke. I was like, what do you do? I was like, I talk in and out of Rihanna songs. It's fun, though.
I remember when I was trying to convince Jubal to come work here, and I was like, hey, come on, man. You don't want to spin Katy Perry records all day.
Yeah, he did not.
I know, but he didn't come work here either because we couldn't pay him as much as they were paying him. This is Heat Wave.
Third time in ranked.
Have we done Always, Forever, and Heat all in the last week?
Yes.
That's funny. That's
perfect.
very funny. I know everybody loves NBA Jam. He's heating up.
That one's hard to hear, but man, if you go watch just some gameplay of that, if you want some nostalgia vibes,
yeah,
it's pretty fun.
Oh, you want nostalgia? You want like some Jamiroquai? Got some Canned Heat.
Never knew those were the lyrics.
Some Canned Heat, man.
Canned Heat in my feet tonight.
Yeah. We also got the band Canned Heat. Speaking of
I didn't know that
school.
I think I actually knew the name of this band.
Yeah, it's Canned Heat.
I just think of that as like a car commercial song now.
We got some AC/DC. Did I mention Heat Seekers? Here's a little Heat Seeker. I like the song. This is what's it? Blow Up Your Video, Blow Up Your Radio, whatever it's called, with Who Made Who on it. That's a good album. We got Hot Hot Heat, the band. Part of the like Devo cover revolution
I enjoyed
in the early
it, though.
2000s.
I was on board.
Yeah. We got Reverend Horton Heat, who I saw open for Sublime. Weird dude.
It's awesome, though.
It's great. Very weird. That's who opened for Sublime when I saw him.
Stand-up bass.
Yeah.
Love it.
It was fun. Yeah, they were fun. At Mamakin in Boston. Great show. All right, you want to do the top five? Are you ready?
I'm trying to see if we meet any of the texters here that we
There was the
didn't get.
movie Body Heat with Kathleen Turner. There's the old movie Heat of the Night. There's the Arnold Schwarzenegger Belushi joint, Red Heat.
Red
So
Heat?
there's a few.
Belushi? I can imagine those two together.
Jim Belushi.
Okay.
Not John. Jim.
Okay.
It was when Jim was trying to do action movies.
Of course, you just got the heater. Go outside and rip a heater.
You know. No. All right. Are you ready for the top five? Speaking of heaters, how about the manager, Lou Brown?
Give him a heater.
I'm glad that made it.
Anything Lou Brown says is high comedy.
I don't know. I got the guy that live on some white walls. We still have that, I think, in here.
As we should.
Oh, wish I had it already.
Come on, Ricky. Give him the heater. That's the way he talks.
I have it.
So
Do I have it? I do.
You
This is
do?
a chance to manage in the big leagues.
Let me think it over, will you, Charlie? I got a guy on the other line about some white walls. I'll talk to you later.
Major League's great. All right, that's number five. Number four, old school Martha and the Vandellas. There you go.
Good song. The summer song.
Martha and the Vandellas shows up a lot on great. I mean, they did that. They did the original Dancing in the Streets. They did what's the other big one? Nowhere to Run. Martha and the Vandellas pretty awesome.
Showed up and ranked quite a few times.
Yeah, they should. Great band.
You said that was number.
That's number 4.
Okay.
Number 3 is Glenn Frey.
There we
It's
go.
cheesy, I know, but he's still Glenn Frey, and it was from Beverly Hills Cop.
Beverly Hills Cop, yes.
It was on the soundtrack. I think
watch the
Beverly
new
Hills
one?
Cop 2. No.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch it. I don't think I should.
You don't think so?
I just want to let the old one be.
Yeah, that's...
I watched the new Roadhouse, and I was like, I should have done this.
I think that's on the Beverly Hills Cop 2 with Axel F. and a Patti LaBelle song and a few other things. But, yeah, solo Glenn Frey.
Mm-hmm.
I think I like his other solo one better, The Smuggler's Blues. You know that song?
No, on top of my head, no.
That's good. It's like a Miami Vice song.
Well, all the songs sounded like that.
Yeah. Well, he was on Miami Vice. He did like a whole thing on it. It was great. All right, that's number 3. Number 2, just the Michael Mann movie, Heat.
I worked all kinds. You see me doing the thrill seeker liquor store holdups with a Born to Lose tattoo on my chest? No, I do not.
I don't think people now can understand how amazing it was to get Pacino and De Niro onto the same screen at the same time. I mean, for everybody who loves The Godfather, and Heather was making fun of me the other day for how much I talk about The Godfather. I'm like, whatever. Everything comes back to The Godfather. And the second Godfather obviously has both Pacino and De Niro in it, but not together because they're in different timelines. Putting them together on screen in what was that, 1994, 95, something
really
like
nice,
that?
yeah.
It was amazing, and it's a great movie. And
95.
Speaking of Miami Vice, Michael Mann, who produced Miami Vice, also produced Heat.
It's a great movie. I watched it for the first time as an adult because it was, I remember it on HBO as a kid and was like, this is way beyond me. And I remember thinking it was just extreme violence. And now I love
It's really not, though. I mean, it's intense, but there's only really one scene of violence.
The shootout.
Yeah. All right, number 1 is super cheesy, and I don't care. It's Asia. They're like 38 Special, REO Speedwagon, Kansas,
Boston.
Toto. They're all sort of Boston.
They are.
They're all in that same
Journey.
genre. Journey, Foreigner, they all kind of go together.
Super produced.
Yep. So
Sounds
we'll
good,
do
though.
Heat of the Moment. Number 1 from Asia, and that is Heat Ranked. Frank, thanks for hanging out and not talking any smack during Ranked.
You're the best.
I was trying so hard not to talk smack.
Oh, you didn't like our ranking
Do you
today?
have a Heat that we missed?
No.
Usually you're a Ranked fan.
He's joking.
I am.
All right.
He's joking.
Don't get don't start taking more side on.
I'm going to listen to Glenn Frey all day. I think it's a sunny.
Think so?
It's going to be it's like a yacht rocky Miami Vice.
Go listen to Tequila
weather day.
Sunrise.
Well, I'm going to listen to You Belong to the
just solo?
City first. Yeah.
Just solo
Solo
stuff?
Glenn Frey, yeah.
You should also listen to Tequila Sunrise. It's a great song.
I'll listen to Take It to the Limit.
It's got one of maybe my favorite Eagles lyric in it.
New Kid in Town. What is it?
Take another shot of courage, wonder why the right words never come. It's such a great line. All right, we got to go. Have a great, warm, heat-filled weekend, everybody. We'll catch you Monday morning at 6 a.m. Until then, the hay is in the barn. See you, everybody.
Get to the chopper!
Seattle Sports, your home for Bump and Stacy.
Joel in Tacoma says, what's more stressful to watch, the Seahawks in the fourth quarter or the Mariners in 7, 8, and 9?
Weekdays 10 to 2.
Mariners all day. Mariners all day. They have shown they're capable of being in any type of game. I think we're slowly starting to figure out that they're capable of throwing hands with the best and keeping them in the game. The next step will be for them just to dominate the weaker teams.
Don't miss an hour of the show. Find the podcast at seattlesports.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
We all know a cancer diagnosis is physically and emotionally challenging, but it can also be financially devastating. That's why Northwest Hope and Healing is here to help. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda, a plastic surgeon who is proud to be part of Northwest Hope and Healing's mission. We provide a lifeline for breast and gynecologic cancer patients by covering essentials like food, utilities, and child care, so patients can focus on healing. Since the year 2000, Northwest Hope and Healing has distributed over $2.5 million to thousands of local cancer patients. And you can help us make an even greater impact. Mark your calendar for Life in Color, a summer brunch, auction, and fashion show on August 18th at the Golf Club at Newcastle. It'll be an unforgettable afternoon of hope and inspiration, celebrating local cancer survivors. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 18th. Go to nwhopeandhealing.org to learn